Goat versus fish. News. The new versus. Goat versus fish has information. Information for your contemplation. What would you do without the information of goat versus fish? Would you simply exist in ignorance of the universe around you? Would you delight in your lack of knowledge? Well, delight no more. For Goat vs. Fish is here to bring you the information. And if you don't hear the information on this Goat vs. Fish versus, then it wasn't worth knowing at all. It wasn't worth knowing even in the slightest verse. What you hear on this information is the only true information that you need for your contemplation. So celebration for the news of Goat vs. Fish, for the news of Goat vs. Fish. 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 For the news of Goat vs. Fish, yes. It's Tuesday, Newsday, and Goat vs. Fish returns to bring you the information, to bring you the information. The critical verses, only the most critical verses. This is Goat vs. Fish, Goat vs. Fish, Morning Motivational 114. And this verses, we're going to motivation you with news and information. News and information, celebration, 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 celebration. Celebration, celebration, celebration. Welcome, Goat and Fish. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish News. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish News. Are you goat or are you fish? Goat versus fish needs to know information, and Goat versus Fish wants to know, are you goat or are you fish? Is JIMOTHY, the raccoon, a goat or a fish? The mal-shapen fence creature that has stolen the minds and hearts of all of verse America and beyond. Stephen Miller gives a horrific speech, creating false verses and false divisions amongst verse Americans, distracting you from the verses of Goat versus Fish, while they run out the back door with all of the monetization. Is MESSI still the GOAT? It was a MESSI versus. It was a MESSI World Cup versus. The GOAT did not triumph. The purported GOAT, Lionel Messi, did not triumph in Argentina versus Spain. If it's a true versus, then is Argentina still GOAT and Spain the fish? Is it a Spanish fish? Is it Country Joe and the Tijuana Fish? Goat and fish, is it Spanish fish and the Tijuana Goats? Is Argentina the GOAT? Is Spain the fish? Is Spain the GOAT? Is Argentina the fish? A giant water main ruptures in West Hollywood, bringing the Sea of the Fish out from below the land of the goat. Fish taking over the land of the goat. Fish taking over the land of the goat. The goat tried to contain the hydration using modern plumbing, but the Sea of the Fish bursts forth. It bursts forth whenever it pleases. The goat can't control the fish. The goat can't control the Sea of the Fish. Hydration and water is this precious resource over which Goat and Fish versus is taking out the land. And a lot of horns and a lot of fins, too. Where are those horns and fins? They're on cars. They're on cars that are now submerged under 20 million verses of hydration. Is this a preview? Is this a preview for rising sea levels? Is the WeHo water main rupture a preview for rising sea levels? We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see on the news of Goat vs. Fish. What else do we have on the news of Goat vs. Fish as we give you this enticing preview of Goat vs. Fish? There's a fish. There's a fish. Last verses we covered a grotesque fish holocaust where heat in the waters caused a lack of oxygenation for the fish who drowned in their own seas, But this verses we have the story of a surviving fish. A surviving fish as the universe collapses around them. In Australia, there's a surviving fish. There's a fish that's surviving the verses. It's still grim out there. The land of the goat and the sea of the fish is still under massive, massive, massive assault, devastation, and destruction. But there's a surviving fish. There is a surviving fish. Humans versus ticks? Humans versus ticks, is this the latest false verses that the New York Times is trying to propagate upon you? They're trying to push humans versus ticks upon you, distracting you once again from the true message of goat versus fish. They would rather publish any old verses than recognize goat versus fish because they're in the pockets of big fence. They're in the pockets of big fence, the fence sitters who choose neither goat nor fish.
The independents, the moderates, the center-right people, the fence sitters, they are going gonzo.
This is Goat vs. Fish News. This is Goat vs. Fish News. Has Coke versus Pepsi finally been settled? Or has a new fence sitter entered the verses? Yes, yes. A religion about nothing? A religion about nothing? A religion about nothing. Some say that's what Goat vs. Fish is, as Goat vs. Fish attempts to get 501c3 nonprofit religious organization status. But is there already a religion about nothing, about doing nothing? Is this a fence religion about sitting on the fence? Or is this actually a religion of proud goat and fish who are versing where it counts, who are versing for their very lives, for their very existence? Goat and fish, permanent fencing around the White House in D.C., the story continues, yes, as we do our second Goat vs. Fish Tuesday Newsday. The narratives are starting to form. You come back, you find familiar stories we have visited before. We check on the latest developments. How's that White House fencing coming along? We'll look into that. Looks like it might be getting closer. The fence might be getting closer to you. The fence might be getting closer to you. The fence might be getting closer to you. Beware the fence as it closes in, This is Goat vs. Fish Newsday Tuesday, and on this verses of Goat vs. Fish Newsday Tuesday, Goat vs. Fish would also like to discuss a matter of Goat vs. Fish. Internal, Goat vs. Fish. Internal politics. Yes, Goat vs. Fish Newsday Tuesday. A declaration of Goat vs. Fish, a declaration of Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish Newsday Tuesday is not just about covering the news out there. It's about covering the news right in here. We have a lovely congregation here on Goat vs. Fish, a lovely congregation of goat and fish. But guess what, goat and fish? There's politics even within Goat vs. Fish. There's politics within Goat vs. Fish. Factionalization, power struggles, seeds of division. It all happens here within the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. Let's have a look at the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. Let's have a look at the congregation of Goat vs. Fish. There they are. There they are. We have Baodin 420 enjoying their verses to free consumption of the grass of the land and the weed of the sea. Yes, Goat vs. Fish supports the freedom to consume of the grass of the land and the weed of the sea, whether you choose to or not. It is up to you. It is up for you to choose. But Goat vs. Fish supports your verses to consume the grass of the land and the weed in the sea here on Goat vs. Fish News, the most objective, unobjective news source in the universe. Dragon Ball 325. The Smoky Skies. The Smoky Skies. The Smoky Skies. We could cover that verses. You want to hear some news about the Smoky Skies news? Here's your news about the Smoky Skies covering the Midwest, Goat and Fish. Yes, there are Smoky Skies covering lots of Verse America now with flame. Coming from Canada. It's a Canadian invasion. It's a smoky Canadian invasion coming to Goat vs. Fish America. And if you want to know the news about that, then, well, normally we tell you to look outside. Just look outside. If you want to know the weather, then try looking outside. You don't have to go outside. It might be not safe for you to consume. But you can look outside and you can see the weather. But there are others in Verse America, such as Goat vs. Fish here at Goat vs. Fish Studios in Encino, Los Angeles, who is not suffering from those flames now, although Goat vs. Fish was suffering from flames not long ago. We were suffering from flames and evacuation not so long ago. So it's really happening all around the universe, all across Verse America. It truly is. BBDH187, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Feeling cuddly and cozy. Trickspin, attack goat. The attack goat. With the scooty goat. Celebration. Sola Little, yes, the latest. Let's go. New Vegas 10,000, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Bud Morgan, howdy, welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Welcome to Goat vs. Fish. Will Goat vs. Fish become the latest, most popular news source in all the interwebiverse? Is this something that you even want to see from Goat vs. Fish? All this and more will be explored here on Goat vs. Fish. But Goat vs. Fish, we'll put it to you. You're here in the congregation. You're here watching Goat vs. Fish. And others are not here watching Goat vs. Fish. Because you're here and they're not. And that makes you superior to them in nearly every respect, Goat and Fish, and you certainly earn the respect of Goat vs. Fish. So Goat vs. Fish wants to ask you, who among you? Goat vs. Fish. The Goatfish seeks a leader amongst goat, a leader amongst fish. Goat vs. Fish calls out to the land of the goat and the sea of the fish and looks for a leader among goat and a leader among fish. Who among you, asks Goat vs. Fish, who among you wishes to nomination yourself, or you may nomination someone else to be the leader of goat and the leader of fish? These are purely internal matters amongst goat and fish. If you are a fish, you don't get to nominate a goat. If you are a goat, you don't get to nominate a fish. You could change allegiances on a temporary provisional basis and see if you can get away with it, much to the dismay of your fellow goat and fish. Or perhaps they are encouraging you to do an infiltration. Or maybe it's a double reverse infiltration. Perhaps as a fish you will become a goat so you can try to get a certain goat into power because you think that the fish will have a better versus against that goat. It's been known to happen. Perhaps the goat and fish parties will be overtaken by fancy incentives. Fencentives. Who among you has a nomination? What are the duties of this leader? The first duty of this leader of goat and the leader of fish is to lead the goat and fish. This is why Goat vs. Fish is calling a leader here. We're calling them a leader, but truly it can be sort of any verses that you wish it to be. That's why we're not saying precedent. We're not saying king or queen or whatever the verse is. We are simply speaking of a leader amongst goat, a leader amongst fish, And as we continue the verses, what the responsibilities of this leader of goat and this leader of fish are will also be a matter of determination for the goat and fish. Each goat and fish will, in the long verses, determine their own internal and external politics. But we have to start somewhere, goat and fish. We have to start somewhere, goat and fish. So we are looking for leaders, and we can at least say this verses. The responsibility of the leader will be at least one verses, that when we call upon you to speak for the goat or to speak to the fish, goat versus fish may call upon you to speak for the goat or to speak for the fish as the representative of the goat and fish. Now you may say to goat versus fish, you may say, the goat are divided or the fish are divided, or I'm not sure I can speak for goat at this verses. We're still handling internal verses, but you are the goats or the fish that goat versus fish will speak to when we want to hear reports on goat and fish. And also, you will have the designation of the leader of goat and fish until such a verses as your own goat and fish congregations determine that, the leader shall be called this, or the leader shall be called that verses, or the leader shall be called this verses instead. And you may designation your own titles. You can have a president of goat and a queen of fish. You can have a czar of goat and a council of fish. Perhaps after the leader has been established, the leader can form a council, or perhaps the goat and fish will rise up, and there will be a revolution within the goat and fish, and they will establish a multi-tiered council, or perhaps it will be an oligarchy of those who spend the most versus American dollars on goat versus fish. It could be any kind of verses. It could be any kind of verses, but we have to start in the beginning, goat and fish. For internal politics, we have to start in the beginning. So let's start with the verses. Let's start with this verses. As long as it's not a Twitch university of our fish schools. Joy Evil, are you goat or are you fish? Wow Mom is goat, celebration for goat. Trickspin Attack is goat, celebration for goat. So goat versus fish, we want to take note. Goat versus fish wants to take note this verses. We'll just spend a little bit of timing here on the politics of goat versus fish, on the politics of goat versus fish. So what's it going to be? What's it going to be? Do we have any nominations? We see Dragon Balls 325 has nominationed Wow Mom to be the leader of GOAT. Wow Mom has so many responsibilities on GOAT versus Fish. But perhaps Psychic Buckeye 12 seconds Wow Mom to be leader of GOAT. Oh my verses. So GOAT versus Fish, we're taking note of this. Wow Mom. Wow Mom. Wow Mom. This is nominations. Nominations. Wow Mom DBZ 325. Psychic Buckeye 12 seconds the verses. Now of course, when we call upon the leader of the Goat and Fish, we may hope that they are here on Tuesday Newsday so that we can discuss internal politics among the Goat and Fish. And if we find that they are frequently absent, then the Goat and Fish may stage some sort of a revolution and be forced to replace the absent leader. If only there was some way to replace absent leaders in Verse America. The Uncle Bo Goat, celebration for Goat, celebration for Goat. Wow Mom nominations. Wow Mom reverses the verses. Wow Mom nominations Dragon Balls 325 and Psychic Buckeye 12. Psychic Buckeye 12. Each have one nomination. You see, this is Goat versus Fish politics right now. This is what we're versing about. This is what we're versing about. Psychic Buckeye is now nomination by Wow Mom, a reverse Goat nomination. Dragon Balls 325 has also received a Wow Mom nomination. Are there any seconds? Are there any seconds? We know that Psychic Buckeye 12, DBZ 325, and Wow Mom, they are goats. They are goats. Sometimes Dragon Balls 325 is fish, however. Do we have any fish? Do we have any fish who want to step up to the verses? One can nomination themselves. BBDH187 says Mitch McConnell for fence leader. BBDH187, are you? You seem to be speaking with some authority about the nature of goat versus fish. Are you attempting to nomination yourself to be the leader of fish? Joy Evil says IR fish. Baden for 20 says now we're voting Zoidberg. Hey, Zoidberg, you out there? Zoidberg, do you want to be the leader of fish? We don't think Zoidberg is in the chat, Baden. Or are you nominating yourself, Baden, for 20? Joy Evil, are you self-nomination? You see Grandmaster Ong? New Vegas, who wants to step up for fish? You could call us the Surf and Turf Congregation. We could. We could call you whatever we wish, or we could leave it up to you to tell Goat versus Fish what to call you. Dragon Ball 325 says, me being a leader for goats, I'll do the best I can. So Dragon Ball 325, do you wish to accept this nomination? Joy Evil, BBDH187, has made a nomination for Joy Evil for Fish Leader. Yes, it's very easy to make a nomination for someone else, and we appreciation your participation. But eventually someone's going to have to take that mantle, even on a provisional basis. You don't have to be leader of Goat and Fish forever. It's just for now, and the power struggle will continue forever. Forever. The Uncle Bo nominations themselves for leader of Goat. The Uncle Bo wants to be Goat. The Uncle Bo wants to be Goat. Self-nomination. Self-nomination. Joy Evil has a nomination from BBDH187. I don't know, the fish want me as leader as I live in a desert. It could be a perfect place. A fish that emerges from the desert, totally unsuspecting verses, and then a fish came out from the land of the goat to lead the fish into the verses. Said the fish, I come from the land. I am the perfect fish to lead the goat in the verses. I've seen their ways. Suddenly, there from the sand, scarfed fish, scarfed squinty eye fish in the desert sands. Is this the leader foretold? Is this the leader foretold in the ancient verses of fish? That once there will be a fish that was raised in the land of goat, that came back to fish to lead them in the mighty verses? Goat and fish. It's all politics. It's all a story to Goat versus Fish. It can be whatever you wish. It can be whatever we wish. Whatever we wish. Why are we suddenly pushing for leadership? Oh, don't worry about that. I can fix Amber Heard. You're just envious. The fence sitter's just envious that there's now leadership discussions among the Goat and Fish because I Can Fix Amber Heard wanted to be the leader among the Goat and Fish. I Can Fix Amber Heard. You just stick to your stick, and you just stick to trying to influence the Goat and Fish political body by throwing tons of money at them and at Goat versus Fish. That seems like a role that you were just born to versus. Master Meatball, ahoy, welcome Master Meatball. We are going to get into the news and politics of Goat versus Fish, but first we are discussing some internal political matters. Joy Evil says, I am more of a crab as I'm a Cancer. Oh, it's not for the stars to declare what it is you are. I Can Fix Amber Heard, sitting on a fence, smoking a stogie, saying, someday I'll be the leader of both. Influence takes time. The fence sitter, hatching schemes in the dark. Goat and Fish. So we have some nominations. So here, Goat and Fish, exclamation D for Discord. Exclamation for Discord. So Joy Evil is the only one who's been nominated for Leader of Fish. Joy Evil, what do you say? Bubbles of honor to you all. Joy Evil seems to want to reject this nomination, or is this more like a modest versus like, oh, I couldn't lead the fish. Wink, wink. I couldn't be the leader of fish. Oh, me? Oh, I only reluctantly accept the leadership of fish. We see in this verses, we only see BBDH 187 and Joy Evil. They're the only fish we see. There's Bayonin 420 the fish. There's Bayonin 420 the fish. So who's going to seize the leadership? Who's going to seize the leadership, Goat and Fish? Goat. Wow Mom has 2 nominations. Psychic Buckeye nominations. Wow Mom. No, Psychic Buckeye is Wow Mom is nomination by DBZ325 and Psychic Buckeye. Wow Mom in turn nominations Psychic Buckeye and DBZ. And the Uncle Bo nominations themselves. Well, that shows some confidence. Goat. Do we have any consensus? On who will be the provisional leader of Goat? Who will be the leader of Goat? Goat versus Fish. We want to make a Discord. Goat versus Fish wants to make a Discord. We'll talk about this for news and politics. Goat versus Fish on the Discord of Goat versus Fish. We need to do some bot programification where you declare Goat or Fish in the Discord, and this gives you exclusive access. You get the role of Goat or the role of Fish, and if you have the role of Goat, then you can be in the Discord of Goat. You can be in a channel that's just for Goat, and there's a channel that's just for Fish. And if you want to see what's in the conversation channel for Goat or Fish, you have to have the role of Goat or Fish. You have to declare Goat or Fish, and then you can switch allegiance on one another and spy on one another's secret conversation as you plot the verses. I can fix Amber Heard. You say you nomination Lysergic Fish for leadership. Unfortunately, you are a pitiable fence sitter. Nominations are purely internal matters among Goat and Fish, and you may nomination whatever you wish. You may say whatever you wish, but this is for the fish to decide for themselves. If you want to influence fish matters, then you have to be Fish. If you want your verses to officially verses for Fish. You're on the fence. You get to sit on the fence. You get to watch the verses. You get to complain about the verses. You get to wish you had more influence over your life than you actually do because you haven't chosen Goat or Fish. But you can say whatever you wish. You can say I nomination the fish, but it's not written by Goat versus Fish. Unless you're declaring Fish. Unless I Can Fix Amber Heard is declaring Fish. Discord, indeed. Wrench Stallion says Goat neutral. Well, Mom says closed primaries for voting. We didn't realize that we were voting in this verses. Are we voting in this verses? Goat versus Fish could set up the whole verses. We could say we are having a vote and we're doing the verses like this, and perhaps Goat versus Fish shall. But Goat versus Fish wants to give you a chance to settle your own political matters, Goat and Fish. That is the gift of Goat versus Fish, your freedom to choose Goat or Fish and to do as you wish. BBDH 187 is often in the verses. Maybe BBDH 187 can be provisional Fish leadership. Before we get into the news of the outer verses, let us settle this news of the inner verses. Is there a leader amongst the Goat and Fish who will step up to the verses? Is there a leader among the Goat and Fish who will step up to the verses right here, right now on Goat versus Fish? What the fence? Goat versus Fish? Oh, we have run out of battery power on Goat versus Fish. How fancy. Oh, yes. Is there a leader who will step up, among the goat and fish? Goat and fish. I can fix Amber Heard, continuing to bloviate. Master Meatball says, "'Tis with great sorrow I must say, whatever sign you think you are is not. Those signs were set 4,000 years ago when Aries was in the first house." Well, you're in Goat versus Fish's house now. Aquarius is now the first house, so every sign moves 2 signs back. It is not for the stars to declare what it is that you are. You can move the houses forward, you can move the houses back. The only question for you, Master Meatball, if that's even your real verses, is are you goat or are you fish? This is for you to choose. This is for you to choose for yourself. Google says a lot of fancy things. You don't believe everything you read on the interwebiverse, do you? I can fix Amber Heard. BBH187 says, "I'm a stubborn bullfish. I don't want to move 2 signs back." Do not be distraction. Do not be distraction by all of this star talk. This isn't celebrity goat versus fish. Do not be distraction by the star talk. We're doing internal politics of goat versus fish. You're being distraction from the verses. Duke of Troubles. Google just quote the musical Hair. I'm still fish. Celebration Duke of Troubles fish. Celebration fish. Celebration fish. Is there any goat and fish? Goat or fish who will step up to the verses? Wow, Mom, do you accept the nomination? Psychic Buckeye, do you accept the nomination? DBZ, do you accept the nomination? The Uncle Bo has nominationed themselves. Do we have any seconds for the Uncle Bo? Does anyone else also wish the Uncle Bo? Goat, speak now to Goat versus Fish. Participation is required for this internal verses. Wow, Mom, do you accept a nomination? Psychic Buckeye, do you accept Wow Mom's nomination? DBZ, do you accept Wow Mom's nomination? Do the rest of you accept the Uncle Bo's nomination? Speech. Meanwhile, BBDH187 is the only one to have received any nomination, and it's from Joy Evil. Well, Goat and Fish, we'll give you just a few more verses to discuss and determine. And then we've got to get into the news. That's enough internal politics of Goat versus Fish. We've scarcely gotten anywhere, but guess what, Goat and Fish? Most of internal politics is being in meetings and having discussions and trying to determine how it is that you are going to determine the conversation. Wow Mom accepts. Wow Mom accepts the nomination of DBC325 and Psychic Buckeye. The Uncle Bo, what do you say? What do you say, the Uncle Bo? What do you say, the Uncle Bo? Why are we doing leadership? Because it's time for Goat versus Fish news and politics. It's time for Goat versus Fish news and politics. This is part of Goat versus Fish. We're making things happen. We're moving the plot forward. I can fix Amber Heard. You just want things to stay exactly as they are with no developments whatsoever. We're making things happen. We're shaking things up on Goat versus Fish. It's time for the Goat and Fish. It's time for the Goat and Fish to have leaders among them. It's time for the Goat and Fish to start having conversations with one another, strategizing about the verses. It's time for Goat and Fish to be engaged in negotiations. It's time for politics on Goat versus Fish. Wow Mom has a speech. Wow Mom declares, "As your goat leader, I will be fair and firm goat, never letting fence divide us and getting a leg up on the fish who is legless." Sounds like a speech. Could this have been an email? Goat versus Fish. No! This couldn't have been an email. But let it be verses that in the future of Goat versus Fish politics, there could be more emails. Imagine your inbox flooded with solicitations for Goat versus Fish political campaigns and notifications that the meeting time has changed from 4:30 to 4:45. The Uncle Bo has nothing to say. The Uncle Bo's in silence as Wow Mom seems to be accepting the Goat leadership. Goat versus Fish declares that Wow Mom is the leader of Goat. Wow Mom is the leader of Goat. For now, this is not a permanent versus. Politics is always in flux. Leadership can be overthrown. Leadership can be overthrown. Yes. Leadership can persist. There can be power vacuums, power consolidation. Politics, says Master Meatball, the reasoning of the few versus the questionable sanity of the many. That's one versus, you could say. We say politics is goat versus fish. If there are emails, are there also e-females? We think there are. Bowser, Big Bean Burrito, Celebration, Duke of Troubles. Let's put a fence in this and circle back to goat versus fish with goat synergy. Oh, no, not that versus. I can fix Amber. It says 6-month term. We say nothing of terms in this verses. All we have designation is that Wow Mom is the leader of goat, who will humbly perform these temporary duties to the best of my ability. What starts as a temporary versus could turn into an eternal versus. Well, Mom, as the leader of goat, we ask unto you. So here's the verses. Goat versus fish may ask a question unto the leader of goat or fish. And then it's up to the leader of the goat or fish. The leader of goat and fish may simply say, I speak for the goats when I say this. And then the other goats may say, hey, we never had a discussion about that. So the leeway with which you determine how to report back to goat versus fish about what's going on in the goat congregation is also up to the leader of goat, you see. So you see. Joe Evil is in the Discord now and easier to be reached. So, wow, Mom, we will ask you this. We will ask you this. You may answer us this. You may delay and dither on this, but we are going to ask you a verses. What is the goat leader called? What is the leader of goat called? You may simply be referred to the leader of goat. Is there some sort of title? Is there some sort of role that you fill, that you call yourself? What is the political structure of the goats currently, Wow Mom? And what is your agotal position as leader of goats? Does the leader of goat have a title? Do you declare a title as leader of goat? Wow Mom? Meanwhile, the fish. Joy Evil has been nominated by BBDH 187. BBDH 187, Supremo Goat. And it was written, Wow Mom is the Supremo Goat. Wow Mom is the Supremo Goat. Supremo Goat. Supremo Goat. Supremo Goat, Wow Mom. Wow Mom. Supremo Goat, the leader of goat. Celebration. Supreme Bleater, Herdmaster, the High Ram. Well, I can fix Amber Heard. You can dream from the fence. But wow, Mom. This is funny, lol. Now you're beginning. Why are you doing this, goat versus fish? This is funny, lol. That's what we like to hear. Well, Mom is the Supremo Goat, and it was written. What about fish? Fish, we're going to give you one verses here. We're going to give you a few verses. Fish. Is anyone stepping up to lead the fish? Joy Evil, are you accepting? Is Joy Evil the desert fish going to accept the nomination? Or do the fish want together and nomination some other fish, and then we have to wait and report back to fish and find out the fish and send a message to fish and wait for the fish to come back? Are the fish really going to have a power vacuum? We've got 3 more minutes. We have until 9 a.m. Goat and fish. Pacific Standard Time for internal politics of goat versus fish. Goat have a leader now. Goat have a Supremo Goat. Goat have a Supremo Goat and Wow Mom. The goat are quickly coalescing and organizing. They're moving at versus speed when it comes to politics. Meanwhile, the fish can barely start their verses. There's a power vacuum among fish. It's a vacuum fish. There's a power vacuum among the fish. Fish. What do you say to goat versus fish? Bayardin 420. Are you so high on the grass of the land and the weed of the sea that you have neglected to do your civic participation? Fish. BBDH 187 still shouting for Joy Evil. Joy Evil says, I will glub till the fish want to glub with another. So, Joy Evil, you're accepting this nomination on a provisional basis for fish? You will glub till the fish want to glub with another. That sounds like an acceptance from fish. We've got Joy Evil. Joy Evil, the leader of fish. Because you're here now. Some of you may say, oh, what about lysergic fish? Well, guess what, Joy Evil? You're here now. You accepted the verses. Much of politics is just showing up. Joy Evil, we will ask you the same verses we asked Wow Mom. As the first leader of fish, do you have a title? Is this something you need to discuss with your fellow fish? What is the fish title? What is the title of the leader of fish, Joy Evil? What is the title of the leader of fish? What is the title of the leader of fish, Joy Evil? Meanwhile, Wow Mom, the politics will continue. Wow Mom, we wish to know what is your first official. Well, we'll leave that for future verses. The next verses, Wow Mom, will be to either speak to your fellow goats or not to your fellow goats at all, and to do it solely as an authoritarian who isn't listening to your congregation, whatever the verse is. But Wow Mom, the first task for next Tuesday of Goat versus Fish will be to craft an opening statement, a declaration, both of your own supremo goatness and of the position of goat vis-a-vis fish. A statement to the fish, a public statement to the goat and the fish. You're going to send a communication. You're going to send a communication directed both at your fellow goats and at the fish. In the name of goat, it will be an official, a goatal declaration. And you may consult your fellow goats. And fish, we will ask you to do this as well. To creation, an official or an goatal declaration to be made, both directed at your internal fish and also at the goats, but it will be a public verses. We want it to be a crafted verses, or it can be something you make up right at the last minute because you didn't do anything in the interim. This is news and politics, goat and fish. This is how politics verses. Sometimes you make it up as you go, and then they say, someone points at you and says, they're just making it up as they're going along. They didn't consult me on that verses. Joy Evil says, I am the most shellfish cod parent. Joy Evil. That's the full title. The most, the mighty, the illustrious, the most shellfish cod parent. Bubbles. And thus it was written in the internal politics of Goat versus Fish. Wow Mom, Supremo Goat, Joy Evil, the most shellfish cod parent, blub, 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 blub. These are the leaders among Goat and Fish. These are the current leaders among Goat and Fish. And we'll check in next Goat versus Fish News and Politics Newsday Tuesday to hear what is your message for the goat, what is your message for the fish. A big official goatal public statements. This message is on behalf of Goat, addressed to Goat and Fish and Fence. Well, this will be your opening, your big opening verses, So it can sort of be whatever you wish, but this is going to be statement from the verses of Wow Mom the Supremo Goat. And you may determine that it's not just from Wow Mom Goat, it can also be from Wow Mom Goat and a council of goats. Whatever happens between now, whatever politics happens between now and next Tuesday's verses, anything could happen, Goat and Fish. Anything could happen, but yes, we want a statement. You may get input from your fellow goats, or you may make it all yourself. This is politics, Goat and Fish. Perhaps the goat will like your speech. Perhaps they won't. Who is to say? This is politics, Goat and Fish. This is the real verses. Very true, says Cody. Very true. Cody, we have a fish leader now. We have a fish leader now, Enjoy Evil, the most shellfish cod parent, and we have a goat leader. Wow Mom is now the Supremo goat. They didn't spell it Supremo goat, so we're calling it Supremo goat. Is she going to be like on a video to give a speech? Wow Mom can be on a video to give a speech. Wow Mom can make a video speech declaration, or it can be a verses in text. It can be a piece of mail that is sent to Goat vs. Fish at !mail. You can mail a statement to Goat vs. Fish. You are looking to Goat vs. Fish for all this guidance. Well, how shall it be? How shall it be? This is politics. This is the game, Goat and Fish. This is the game. Maybe Fish sends it in a mere text, whereas Goat send it in a massive multi-bazillion versus American dollar budget, well-lit, professionally shot, highly edited statement. And then you will look at it and say, wow, Goat really have their production together. What's Fish doing? What others may say, no, the Goat are too ostentatious. We like the humbleness of the Fish verses. It is up to you. Goat versus Fish, it is up to you what you do. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish is merely here to help guide you in the verses of Goat versus Fish. But the choice of Goat or Fish has always been yours, and Goat versus Fish always comes from within you. This is going to end up with fence and camps, as I Can Fix Amber Heard. Well, you might as well try to make your voice known. If you don't want the fence sitters to be in camps, then why don't you choose Goat or Fish? And then you could start affecting the politics from within. Who was laughing at that with Goat versus Fish? No, it's fine. Okay, I Can Fix Amber Heard is fine with fences being in camps. Okay, Goat and Fish, that was internal politics with Goat versus Fish. And it was written. Goat versus Fish, we're instituting a new verses. And it was written. Goat versus Fish says, and it was written. We say, and it was written. But Goat versus Fish says it twice, as if we are responding to ourselves. But Goat versus Fish wants to invitation you, the congregation, now when we say, and it was written, you respond, and it was written back to Goat versus Fish. We say it unto you, you say it back to Goat versus Fish. When you like what Goat versus Fish has to say, you respond emphatically with, and it was written. When you're kind of tepid on what Goat versus Fish has to say, you can be like, and it was written. Or maybe you're like, you know what, I'm not going to say, and it was written on this verses because I no longer believe Goat versus Fish. But and it was written is now. Bud Morgan says, I nomination myself to be leader of the fence. Well, internal politics is over now, so you can go have your fancy discussion somewhere else. We didn't really have time to get into fence politics on this verses. It was really just for the Goat and Fish. Let's try this verses. And it was written. And now there's going to be a massive delay on Goat versus Fish because that's just how it is. And it was written. And it was written. We're going to go and we're going to come back, and we'd better see some and it was written in the congregation. We'd better see it. Lord Saturn is here for the verses. Lord Saturn, Wow Mom is now the leader of goats. If you have any complaints with that, take it up with Wow Mom. Hey there, Kwatai Bareth. Welcome to News with Goat vs. Fish. Welcome to News with Goat vs. Fish. We're getting into the news now. Critical versus. This is a critical versus. Let's get into the news with Goat versus Fish. It's news time. It's been an hour of news and politics. It's time to get into the news of Goat versus Fish. It's time to get into the news of Goat versus Fish. We start off on the fence, or do we? Or do we?
A peculiar...
Goat and Fish, let's increase volume increation. Volume increation. Let's see what the fox has. What does the fox say?
A peculiar little raccoon has taken the internet by storm, and now he's become an unlikely celebrity in Seattle. Fox 13's Lauren Donovan shows us how JIMOTHY is winning hearts and even giving back to the community.
And there's the first view we get of this creature. There's the first view we get of this creature. And already it's on the fence. First JIMOTHY evidence. The first JIMOTHY evidence we have is JIMOTHY on the fence already. Look at that fence sitter. Look at that fence sitter. Look at that fence sitter. Yes, Quatai. Are you goat or are you fish? It's on the fence. It's on the fence. Is it sitting? Is it walking? Is it standing? It's a little difficult to say. It's an odd-shaped creature. Here on Goat versus Fish, we know that everything is goat or fish. This is established verses that the lamestream media does not want to admit to you. So is JIMOTHY a goat or a fish, this named creature? Well, as of now, it's on the fence. It's on the fence. For all of their propaganda, they are trying to push cute fenceness onto you. They're trying to push cuteness onto you. They're trying to say, look at JIMOTHY. Oh, we love JIMOTHY. Oh, JIMOTHY gives back to their community. And you're going to take that news from Fox? You're going to believe the wily, conniving Fox when they say that JIMOTHY is just a loving, lovable creature? They're pushing fence. They're pushing fence onto you, and you can see that they're pushing fence because the news story begins with fence. It begins with fence, Goat and Fish. Goat versus Fish has warned you of the fence. Goat versus Fish has warned you of the fence. And now they're trying to say that the fence is cute. Now they're trying to say that the fence has stolen your heart. 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 How are you going to live with your heart? How are you going to live without your heart in the Verse American fence care system? In a Verse American fence care system where your health is being ransomed for profit, how are you going to survive without your heart when your heart has been stolen by a creature of the fence, by a creature of the fence? How are you going to survive when the propaganda machine is telling you that the fence creature has stolen your hearts and your minds? Lord Saturn says Fox is the sack of lies, but Goat versus Fish. It's JIMOTHY. JIMOTHY's on the fence. JIMOTHY is on the fence.
It looks like he was squished up and hunched over.
Perched there on the fence post, this
Perched there on the fence post. Need we versus more, Goat and Fish? Goat versus Fish did not review this versus. We saw JIMOTHY on the fence. Picture two.
Hearts and even giving back to the community.
It looks like he was squished up and hunched over.
perched there on the fence post.
Fence sitter's gonna fence. Fencer's gonna fence. Fencer's gonna fence. Fencer's gonna fence. The heck indeed. Goat versus Fish. We love JIMOTHY, but my allegiance towards Goat is stronger than ever. Celebration for Goat. Celebration for Goat. Well, now your allegiance towards Goat is also directed towards Wow Mom, who is the Supremo Goat.
This unusual yet adorable furball is none other than JIMOTHY. Yeah, you heard that right. He's got a name, and the internet has identified him.
Oh, wow. It has a name now. Oh, my verses. And there's the fence sitter just showing their posterior to you. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Have you asked JIMOTHY, is he goat or fish? Vote in the poll. Vote in the poll. Is JIMOTHY goat or fish? There's a YouTube poll. going on if Jimothy is goat or fish, but we want to hear your opinion. Is Jimothy goat or fish?
Him as a short-spined raccoon.
It was pretty interesting seeing him run across the.
You want to finish that sentence there? You want to finish that verses? You want to finish that verses? Is this what passes for creature on the street interviews?
It was pretty interesting seeing him run across the.
Oh, my verses. Oh, my verses. Oh, my verses. Oh, my verses. Goat versus fish. We'll make a poll. Is Jimothy goat or fish? And we have immaculate goat. Well, the verses on YouTube is exquisite goat. Exquisite goat. Immaculate fish. Malformed fence. Or the legendary goatfish? Is Jimothy the legendary goatfish that we have been searching for? After all? Ten-minute poll begins now. Twitch poll is live.
After posts began going viral, everyone is now searching back through their backyard cameras, trying to catch another glimpse of him.
Well, they're there on the fence again.
And in that, he's become somewhat of an international sensation.
Oh, yeah. Now it's an international versus. Now it's an international versus. You see, the media will give all the attention to the fence creature and none of the love to goat versus fish.
Absolutely crazy that it has blown up worldwide.
No joke.
Blown up? What? The fence sitters is blowing things up now? Is this a terrorist? Is this a terrorist creature? Is Jimothy a secret terrorist?
Even the Mariners have capitalized on the fanfare, including him in the beloved salmon run last week.
Oh, what the fence? Oh, wait a versus. Go to fish. We have fish. We have fish has entered the verses. Fish has entered the verses. Jimothy is participation in a salmon run. WTF, this is Goat versus Fish News. You never know what's going to happen on Goat versus Fish News. It's such an amazing, glorious, beautiful verses. Jimothy has entered the salmon run. This is strong fish evidence. This is strong fish evidence that Jimothy is fish. If Jimothy is entering the salmon run as a true fish, that's a fish versus. That's a fish versus. Do a belly roll. This is a fish. Has entered the salmon run. Or is this just the fish being permissive of a fence sitter? Oh, you're popular? Well, let's lend some popularity to the salmon run. Let's lend some popularity to the salmon run by having this popular viral fence sitter take part in the salmon run. Does Jimothy belong among the fish? Salmon run, that's one for fish.
In the beloved salmon run last week.
The thing about Jimothy is he is an elusive creature. Though you'll see him all over your social media feed, spotting.
Hey, where you walking to? You going somewhere? You going somewhere? What's all that horrible graffiti in your city? On that wall behind you, fence creatures all abound. Where's the goat? Where's the fish? That's not art. That's fencery.
Him in person, now that is tricky. I did catch him though, however, immortalized in paint in this very corner of Ballard.
Oh, wow. You see, Goat and Fish, all it takes is a little bit of artisanal talent to go out there and paint a picture of a goat or a fish upon a wall near you. Let your love for Goat versus Fish carry you into doing great acts of public service, because we need to get this filth out of our cities, Goat and Fish. Ah, Goat and Fish. This space was reserved for a mural of Goat versus Fish, and now it's just fancy art. Fancy art. Jimothy is a true inspiration, not a fence. Jimothy was on the fence. And look at Petcher Head, who said, Jimothy bit me. Goat versus Fish must have the cure. The cure is the information. First time chatter, welcome. Petcher Head, are you goat or are you fish?
I said we need our own Jimothy mural. He's normally hidden right behind our garbage can here, which we thought was the most appropriate place for.
You see, Goat and Fish, you are settling for your heroes. Your heroes are garbage. Goat and Fish. Goat, now when we had goat and fish culture, when we had a true culture of goat versus fish, then we lived in a true versus America. But now with fences over your windows, you're worshiping trash-consuming fence creatures, and you're calling it love, Goat and Fish. Love for the trash-consuming fence creature. You're letting fence creatures into your salmon runs.
A raccoon to be.
Rebecca Sorensen over at Ballard Clay couldn't help herself.
I think that he's, different. He's a little bit weird, a little bit.
That's not actually Jimothy. That's just a picture of Jimothy. In case Goat versus Fish just wants to give you this information that what you're looking at now is not Jimothy. It's just a picture. We wouldn't want you to be deceived by the news.
He's a little bit weird, a little bit funky. He's
so is Goat versus Fish.
a lot like Ballard.
And across
Stop! Oh, it's hideous. Make it stop. Oh, look away from the the fence again. Oh.
town, this oddball story has done some serious good. By way of
Ah!
another muralist.
It's the decline of civilization. It's the decline of civilization. We used to have real art in this verses. We used to have real art in this verses. Goat and Fish. We used to have real art in this verses. We used to have real art, Goat and Fish. We used to be a proper verses. We used to be a proper verses with real art. We used to something went wrong. Reload the page, please. Oh, my verses. We used to, but then Fenstagram has been fancy. Fenstagram. What? We can't look at our bookmarks now on Goat versus Fish. Oh, my verses. Fenstagram. We wanted to cover some Goat versus Fish news on the Fenstagram, and now you're telling Goat versus Fish that we can't even load our previously saved verses? Oh, my verses. The Fencery. The Fencery. The Fencery. Okay, well, we'll just go here and we'll look for fish art. Fish art. Fish art. There's some fish art. There's some real art. There's some actual art on Goat versus Fish. It's fish wall art. How about goat art? Goat art? There, goat art. That's some real culture there, Goat and Fish. That's some real culture on Goat versus Fish. That's some real culture on Goat versus Fish. Or how about this? Or how about this? How about this? How about this? How about this? Here's some real art. Here's some fish art. Here's some real fish art. Now this is high culture. This is high culture, Goat and Fish. Or how about Goat versus Fish? How about this? How about YouTube shows us what we want to see? How about that? How about you show us the verses? How about you show us the verses? How about you show us this? How about this? How about this, Goat and Fish? How's this for art? Now here's the beautiful, graceful ballet fish. This is culture. This is society. This is progress. This is civilizational advancement. The culture war will be won by these graceful fish, and there will be goat too. There will be goat too. There's plenty of verses for goat. There's plenty of verses for goat. There's plenty of verses for goat. Why we have movies about goat. Why we have movies about goat. We've got Goat 2026 animated movie. This is culture. This is your culture, goat and fish. Look at the goat. Look at the goat. Goat! This is culture, goat and fish. This is culture, goat and fish. This is fence. This is fence. You watched that the other day? Celebration. Who did triumph, the goat or the fish?
Who's a local legend in his own right. Ryan Henry Ward, a.k.a. Henry, auctioned off this acrylic homage to benefit the Ballard Food Bank, pledging roughly $6,500 to those in need, all in the name of their neighbor, JIMOTHY.
They're in need. It's giving handouts. It's giving handouts to spineless fence creatures now. Whatever happened to having to verse for a living? Whatever happened to having to verses for an honest day's pay? Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish gets out. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish versus so hard. Goat versus fish versus so hard to give you the news of goat versus fish. Oh, but goat versus fish doesn't complain. No. We do the hard verses for you. Goat versus fish goes online and searches for goat and fish news to bring to you. And they just want handouts. Now they just want handouts. The fence creatures want nothing but handouts. $6,543 versus American dollars. Are you goat or are you fish?
I think JIMOTHY has come to us at a time where everyone just needs something to rally around. Do you think
everyone needs something to rally around? Rally around goat, rally around fish, rally around goat versus fish. Everyone needs something to... This is not just a time when someone needs something to rally around. Every time is a time that everyone needs something to rally around. Have you not looked at the history of goat versus fish? It's always a time for rallying around, and now it's time to rally around goat. It's time to rally around fish. It's time to rally around goat versus fish. Follow Goat versus Fish on all social media at Goat versus Fish. An exclamation point tip to make a big fat donation to Goat versus Fish and the Church of Goat versus Fish. Not a 501c3 nonprofit religious organization. We're versing on that. Believe in Goat versus Fish. You need something to rally around Goat versus Fish.
He will go down in history?
Oh, yeah. He'll be around for a long time.
Reporting in Ballard, Lauren Donovan, Fox 13 News.
And the local generosity is snowballing. Amazon stepped up to match the $6,500.
Oh, Amazon is matching the verses. Oh, thank you, Fence Bezos. Oh, wow, how generous. How generous of Fence Bezos to donate an entire $6,250 versus American dollars to those in need. Are you going to pay? Are you going to pay your hard versers anymore, Fence Bezos? No. Are you going to give Goat versus Fish a larger cut of Twitch subscriptions? No. Are you going to allow your versers to go home from working in your fence factories when you know that there's impending tornadoes, hurricanes, and other disastrous things coming just mere moments away, but you don't want to let them go because you want them to keep on versing even though you're putting their entire lives in danger? No. Oh, but we could spare 6,000. Did we say 6 billion? Oh, did we? Oh, no, sorry. Oh, 6,000. 6,000 versus American dollars. Why, thanks, Fence Bezos. Wow. What a cheap ploy. What a great opportunity to just fence wash your entire reputation. Oh, here's a fence creature. Here's JIMOTHY, the fence creature that everyone loves. Oh, let's just throw 6,000 versus American dollars there. Oh, it'll be cheap. It'll get mentioned on Fox News. And then everyone will think that Amazon is just the greatest versus. Meanwhile, they take half of the pay of Goat versus Fish. They're taking half the pay of Goat versus Fish. Do not be deceived. You say, Goat versus Fish. Go easy on the fence creature. Go easy on the fence creature. This is all but love. This is fence-aganda. This whole entire versus. In conclusion, Bezos gave $6,250 versus American dollars. This has been the ploy the entire versus. They want you to love JIMOTHY. They want you to love JIMOTHY so that they can sell you on the verses that Fence Bezos is altruistic and shouldn't pay Goat versus Fish more. Nice fish. Nice fish. Pet your head. You don't have to believe Goat versus Fish. They're saying it right there in the verses.
Stepped up to match the $6,543 winning bid for Ryan Henry Ward's JIMOTHY painting, and then challenged other local corporations to do the same.
So far.
Challenge. Oh, look at these corporations. Look at that. Now they're versing one another. Ha! It's just a little friendly game of verses. We challenge you, local small business, to come up with, you don't have $6,000 in petty cash. Oh, is that just the kind of splurge that only Amazon can afford?
Our Brooks Running, Alaska Airlines, and T-Mobile have all answered that question.
Have all been now advertised and names shouted out right here on Seattle News Tonight. Wow, for a mere $6,250 versus American dollars, you can get a little ad placement right here in the news. Oh, isn't that such a nice verses?
Paul, each chipping in their own full match for the Ballard Food Bank, and I have kind of a suspicion that maybe more companies will join in.
Yeah,
what a suspicion indeed. What a suspicion indeed. Getting any kickbacks? Listen, Goat versus Fish is all for feeding the hungry goat and fish. When you come to the temple of the Church of Goat versus Fish, !Church, appreciation, Lysergic with 100 bits. Lysergic with the donation to Goat versus Fish. Appreciation. Lysergic, in your absence, a fish leader, Joy Evil, whose title is the most shellfish cod parent, the cod parent. Wow Mom is the Supremo Goat. We did some internal politics in your absence. Appreciation for the 100 bits. Celebration. Joy Evil claims that they will be the leader of fish on a provisional basis until someone else decides that they want it more. Your name did come up during the nomination process, which was more of just a free-flowing conversation with words that happened in certain orders.
Check out Marysville PD's Instagram page because they put JIMOTHY in a uniform and said he was their newest lateral officer.
Would you listen to that? Now the pigs have decided to claim JIMOTHY as their own. Oh, my verses. You like JIMOTHY? Oh, you like JIMOTHY, do you? JIMOTHY's your little folk town local hero? JIMOTHY the fence creature? Gonna be the pride and joy, the inspiration, something to rally behind for your little community? Not so fast. Oh, JIMOTHY's gone viral now. Oh, well, now Bezos wants a versus, and now T-Mobile wants a versus, and now JIMOTHY is doing the salmon run for your local sports team. Yes, indeed. And what was that versus? And now that's not enough though.
His Instagram page because they put JIMOTHY in a uniform and said he was their newest.
Now the cops have claimed JIMOTHY. Ah, yes, JIMOTHY, folk hero JIMOTHY. Nothing says folk hero like an officer of the law meting out justice as they see fit. They're making JIMOTHY an officer. They're making JIMOTHY an officer of the law now. You still like your JIMOTHY now? You like your corporate police JIMOTHY? You like your corporate police JIMOTHY? Fencer's gonna fence. We knew JIMOTHY was a cop all along. On the beat. Undercover.
Lateral officer. He was really good at investigating suspicious circumstances.
Yes. Who knew?
Suspicious circumstances that might get you deported if you don't have the right voter ID.
Wow, internet sensation JIMOTHY.
Well, that's the JIMOTHY story, Goat and Fish. That was the JIMOTHY story.
Do you think he will go down in
that was
the
the JIMOTHY story, the fence sitter. Will bid donations become tax deductible when the Temple of Goat versus Fish is a 501c3? Goat versus Fish does not know. It's an interesting versus. We have to talk to Stonks about that one. Perhaps because it's done through Twitch and Goat versus Fish is being paid through Amazonians and through a contract through Amazonians, that might be a private versus, but maybe !tip donations can be Though perhaps those can be tax deductible verses. We're going to have to learn all. We're going to learn all this together, Goat and Fish. We're going to learn all of this together. What a verses indeed. What a verses indeed. Goat and Fish. Next, we're going to get into some news that many of you won't want to hear it. You won't want to hear it, Goat and Fish. You're not going to want to hear it. You're not going to want to look at it. But Goat versus Fish, it's news and politics, and Goat versus Fish is going to cover this versus. Because Goat versus Fish is happening all around us. Maybe a collab with a tax streamer? That's a wise versus. That's a versus. Because there are false verses happening here in Verse America, Goat and Fish. It pains Goat versus Fish to tell you. There are false verses, false divisions happening in Verse America. Goat versus Fish has classic verses. We tell you there is no alpha or omega. There is no black or white. There is no good or evil. There's only Goat and Fish and Goat versus Fish. You may say, oh, that's a poetic verses. That's an interesting sounding verses. It's a serious verses, Goat and Fish. It's a very serious verses. Because now we are going to listen to the ramblings of one of the most horrific fence dividers here in Verse America. Are we speaking of Ronald Trump? No. No. We're speaking of someone, some might say is even more offensive than Trump. Who could it be? Is it even versable? Well, there's an argumentation for it. There is an argumentation for it. Goat and Fish. We now turn our verses to a speech. Oh, my verses. We now turn our verses to some slop perpetuated by Stephen Miller. We're doing it, Goat and Fish. We're getting into the verses. It's news and politics, and we're getting into the verses. If you wish to look away, we understand. We understand. But we've got to cover the verses. You've got to know what's going on in Fence America. We're going to watch this verses at 1.5 times speed because we want to listen to it for as little verses as possible.
Good morning, distinguished leaders and guests. It's good to see so many familiar faces.
Get on with it.
And thank you, of course, to Secretary of State Rubio for organizing this conference and for leading this initiative.
Yes. Get on to the verses.
Here in the United States, we have taken the necessary and essential action of formally recognizing left-wing violence as a form of political terrorism that is a direct threat to our national security and the survival of our Republican form of government.
There you have it, Goat and Fish. They are officially and anecdotally recognizing left-wing political violence as a form of domestic terrorism. The left wing, the right wing, they're already getting into the false left versus right versus here on the ministerial. It's a ministerial versus, almost a spiritual versus, almost a religious versus. The resurgence of political terrorism. Look how it's written in such a distinguished font there. The resurgence of political terrorism. Yeah, something we should all take very seriously, Goat and Fish. So there you have it. The left wing. It's the left. The terrorists are on the left. It's not the frozen ice. It's not the frozen ice that will murder you in the street. No, it's not they. No, it's not the frozen ice that would freeze. That would say freeze to a Goat and Fish. And at the slightest provocation, at no provocation at all, end your existence just because they can get away with it and because they get off on it. No, that's not the violence. No, the real violence is coming from the left verse. It's not a right verse. It's a left verses. No, don't look at the violence over here. Pay no attention to the violence happening in the streets perpetuated by the Verse American federal government. No, that's okay because we do it. It's not okay when you do it, and it's especially not okay when you don't do it because we want you to do it. We want you to do it, we're paraphrasing the verses, because we want to use you as a designated enemy of the state. Oh, please, left wing, could you please commit some more violence? Left wing, they are saying. Goat versus Fish is not advocating for this. This is a paraphrasing type verses. Oh, dear left wing, could you please commit? Could you please commit some more savage acts of barbarism so that we can blame you for all of our problems? But it's okay if you don't. We'll just make it up.
President Trump issued a directive. In our parlance, it's called a National Security Presidential Memorandum, or NSPM.
Oh, sounds very serious.
NSPM 7, to be exact, that directs for the first time in American history all of our law enforcement and intelligence agencies to work together to disrupt, identify, defund, debank, arrest, and prosecute these political terrorists that are operating in our country. It's very
whatever happened to defund the police? Oh, don't defund the police. Oh, we can't do that. Defund the police, they said. They said, oh, they're trying to dismantle the police. Oh, what's going to happen? Oh, they're going to take it away. Whatever happened to that? Oh, they increased police funding after that? Oh. And now they're all versing together. And why are they coming together? Are they coming together to feed the hungry? Are they coming together to clothe the naked? Are they coming together to give free versus American health care and education? No, they're coming together to crack some skulls. They're coming together to verse together to find that left wing of the false bird of bird versus bear. The left wing, the right wing is attacking the left. That's how the fence sitters are. That's how the fence sitters versus. One wing knows what not the other is doing. And as they attempt to fly high, it crashes into the very foundation. And there in the smoldering heap, the goat and fish continue to verses.
important to understand that left-wing political terrorism seeks as its ultimate end the overthrow of our system and form of government. And
we wouldn't want to do that, would we? Would we want to do that? Would we want to do that, Goat and Fish? Listen, we don't need to overthrow your petty government. The power is all here, Goat and Fish. The power is already here with Goat versus Fish, and the power comes from within you. We have leaders of our own. We have Wow Mom, the Supremo Goat. We have Joy Evil, the most shellfish cod parent. Blub, 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 blub. We have our own leaders here among Goat and Fish, and it is you who are trying to overthrow Goat versus Fish. We had a perfectly nice verses of Goat versus Fish until these fence sitters came and started building fences around the land and fences in the sea and started declaring Goat versus Fish, the perpetuator of political violence. But no, it was you all along, and now you're still singing that same old song.
we've seen this has taken place many times in many places throughout the years, and Secretary Rubio has provided you many examples.
Great.
Left-wing terrorism always ends in bloodshed, misery, and suffering.
Bloodshed, misery, suffering. Bloodshed, misery, suffering. Where have we seen bloodshed, misery, and suffering? Where have we seen bloodshed, misery, and suffering? Was it in the Goat movie? No, that wasn't it. Where have we seen bloodshed? No, we don't want to agree to your ads. We want to look at the headline. Where have we seen bloodshed, misery, and suffering in Verse America? There must be something. There must be bloodshed and misery somewhere, but it probably was perpetuation by the left, wasn't it? Now that you mention it. We can't seem to recall. Oh, what's this? 1 week, 2 killings, Trump's immigration's crackdown turns deadly again? Oh, it's almost like the Goat are blaming the fish for the violence perpetuated by Goat. This happens all the time in Goat versus Fish. Sometimes the fish will commit some sort of verses, and then they'll say, but it was the Goat that did it. It's a classic Goat versus Fish game they're playing, but they want to call it left versus right, and it will always be a more violent, more savage versus when they do not understand that it is Goat versus Fish.
Only can travel in one direction. There's no point.
Celebration for Goat. High five, protege. Celebration for Goat. Oh, and listen to this. Listen to this fanciness.
In bloodshed, misery, and suffering. It only can travel in one direction.
It only travels in one direction, Goat and Fish. It only travels in one direction. The violence only happens one way. It only happens in one direction, Goat and Fish. This was just from one day ago, Goat and Fish. This was just from one day. Oh, what's this? 17 hours ago? Wikipedia? What's this? What's this versus? List of shootings by U.S. immigration agents in the second Trump administration. Here's some information. Goat versus Fish. January 20th, 2025. Shooting 27th, 2025. February 12th, March 15th, May 13th, July 1st, July 7th, July 19th, July 31st, August 16th, September 9th. Oh, that's the fence sitter's birthday. September 12th, October 4th, October 17th. This was all just in 20,025,025. Oh, we see. In the neighborhood of Northridge. Oh, that's here in Los Angeles. An off-duty ICE officer killed and shot a 43-year-old black father of two. Goat versus Fish. And a CBP agent shot two people, Louis David Nico and Yorlenius Betzebeth Zambrano Contreras during a traffic stop. We're just picking random verses. A ICE agent shot the tires of a vehicle while apprehending a subject. Oh, my verses. ICE agent shot a man and attempted to flee from them during a traffic stop. Goat versus Fish. A border patrol agent shot and killed a man who stabbed him. Oh, my verses. Violence on violence. But the violence only goes one way, Goat and Fish. It just goes from left to right. It just goes from left to right is what they say as the Goat and Fish continue to fight. False verses.
There's no point at which the left-wing terrorist is satisfied with his gains and ceases progressing. Inevitably, left to run its course, it always becomes a gulag. It always becomes the mass imprisonment of political enemies, the stripping of their rights and freedoms.
Mass imprisonment of political enemies, stripping of their rights and freedoms. Oh, what was that verses? What was that verses? We don't know if that happens in Guantanamo Bay detention camp. We mean in Verse America. We're not sure that it happens there. We're not sure it happens in Alligator Alcatraz. We're not sure it happens there. Alligator Alcatraz closing by the verses. Temporary immigration detention center. We're not sure that happens at all. Sounded like you said an ICE agent shot someone, not an ICE agent. Well, they're just nice and misunderstood, aren't they? After all, the political violence only goes one way.
Inflicting immense pain, humiliation, suffering, in order to establish complete and total control. Control through psychological and physical and actual terror. And we have to understand that is the scope and the extent of the threat that we face.
It's amazing how they just speak of themselves. It's a classic projection of Goat versus Fish. It's a classic fancy deception. They do not recognition the fenciness within, and so they projection it onto someone else. And they say, I'm high above the fence. I'm high above Goat versus Fish. No, I have the true verses. And then their fenciness, they blame on others.
As Secretary Ruby also pointed out, this is an international network. Antifa, as an example, operates in dozens of countries all throughout the world. They share common networks of funding, organization, and information sharing. And so all of our intelligence...
Oh, information sharing? Weren't you just talking about how you were going to put a network together of immigration and police and the FBI and all of that? They were all going to do information sharing and all of that versus? Didn't you just say that you were going to do that versus? It's very Goat versus Fish.
Intelligence agencies and law enforcement entities should be collaborating and coordinating and working together in order to root out these organizations. One of the hallmarks of left-wing violence and terrorism is its completely pretextual and disingenuous appeal to civil liberties in an effort to shield... It's
about civil liberties, Goat and Fish. Yes, they will just use civil liberties as a pretext, like freedom fries, freedom coin. They say it's for your protection. They say ICE is for your protection. You need to be free. You need to be free of the immigration. How many verses have we heard the Fence American administration say that this is all a matter of your freedom? Yes, we're building the fence for your freedom. Build the fence. Build the fence. Build the fence that keeps them out, the fence that keeps you in. And they say it is for your freedom. As they incarceration, they say we're going to bomb overseas, we're going to start a war. Why? For your liberties. They hate our freedom, they will say. That's an old verses, but they still say it. Oh, they hate our freedom, they hate our liberty. This is for your freedom. We commit this violence in the name of your freedom and your civil liberties. And then they turn around and they say, but the other wing of the fence, they're the ones who say this disingenuinely, but once again they tell on themselves.
Its own violence. This is the tactic that the left always uses to try to protect itself from facing criminal punishment.
Protecting yourself from facing criminal punishment? Oh, the verses just keep on coming. The verses just keep on coming, Goat and Fish. Protect yourself. What's this? Let's check in with everyone's favorite artificial intelligence. What does... Oh, my verses. Oh, they're getting fancy. Oh, they found Goat versus Fish. Oh, they're coming for Goat versus Fish. President Donald Trump was granted substantial immunity from criminal prosecutions for official acts performed while in office in 2024 in a landmark Supreme Court decision. The rulings established that presidents has absolute immunity for core constitutional powers, presumptive immunity for other official acts, and no immunity for private unofficial acts, which they then declare are official anyway, and because they're acting as presidents, so then they have immunity from everything. Trump v. United States. Oh, it was a ruling in Trump versus United States. Oh, that does sound like it would be a versus. But, of course, Goat versus Fish is far mightier than any Trump versus. Trump versus United States is just a flash in the pan. Just a petty little versus. You're all engaging in the little fence creatures are playing their little fancy games, whereas the eternal Goat versus Fish continues. If the fence isn't used to protect land erosion or to keep trash from traveling into nature, do we really need it? We have no need for the fence.
It is essential that we are wise enough and strong enough to understand that these appeals must fall on deaf ears. When the leftists...
What? What'd you say?
...not believe in freedom, who does not believe in civil rights, who does not believe in any ordered notion of justice, protest...
Yeah. When has the left ever believed in freedom and civil rights? When did that ever happen?
...violating his rights, understand that he is lying to try to persuade people who are not closely following the political scene that some injustice has been perpetrated against him. We must stay the course and be completely unflinching in the pursuit of justice against these enemies of civilization.
This is a great versus. We think that Stephen Miller, they're doing a great versus. You just have to replace left-wing terrorism with fenciness perpetuation by the federal versus American state, and it's all a true versus. It's very true indeed. Is he goat or fish? I can't tell. Is Stephen Miller goat or fish? We wish we could know. We think they might be perpetuating fence-on-fence violence.
If the left is allowed to use the real or actual threat of violence to destabilize our institutions, then those institutions cannot and will not succeed. So here in the United States, for example...
Sounds like they're failing pretty well on their own.
We saw in the recent past clear threats of violence against our Supreme Court to try to shape how they rule on upcoming decisions.
Shaping how they... We thought that's what bribery was for.
The leftist does this with the full desire, intent, and understanding that the threat of violence against a public figure...
The left is packing the court full of conservative judges. Beware.
...or their family is meant to cow them into behaving or acting or conducting themselves.
Cow. More fence talk. Oh, what happened? What happened to your... Oh, goat versus fish. Oh, that sounds nice. Oh, there's the... Oh, they return. It was a brief reprieve.
Will not sentence them to the crime for it obviously committed. We've seen in the United States...
Not sentence them for the crime they've obviously committed. Goat and fish. What can Goat versus Fish say to this verses? What can Goat versus Fish say to these verses? From the lethal enforcement to the white-collar crime, Goat and Fish, to the bribery, to the self-dealings, to the corruption. Will they ever be held accountable?
Again and again. Individuals who are part of left-wing organizations who've committed assaults against ICE officers or federal law enforcement who've been brought to court where clear evidence has been presented against them that the jury has refused to convict for purely political reasons.
Well, listen, it's one versus to not convict in such a versus for political reasons. In a court, you could say, the court. The court. Oh, the court did not mete out its justice. We went to the court. We went to the court and justice was not met. We went to the court and justice was not met. They may complain. But at least you had your verses in court. At least you had a verses in court. At least big old Judge Fencer could get up there and say to approach the fence, please approach the fence. GoatVsFish, at least a jury could have some deliberation. Where's the deliberation when ICE kills? We cannot look away. Where's the deliberation there? Where's the deliberation in that? Where's the court in that verses? Gamer James says, sick of socialism being framed as free stuff, when capitalism is just endless free stuff for spoiled sociopaths born into wealth, while socialism is just everyone having dignity and sharing the gains from our collective labor. Welcome, Gamer JM, to Goat vs. Fish. Are you goat or are you fish? Goat vs. Fish is the one true versus, and we are covering this fancy news, this news of the fence sitter who chooses neither goat nor fish. Who sits on the fence, It's news from a goat versus fish perspective, and it's the most honest, true take you're going to get anywhere in the universe, because we know the true versus is goat versus fish.
When you've reached that point, it demonstrates how deeply the cancer has begun to infest your society, where people have
there's that cancer again.
Created an internal rationalization structure to justify unsanctioned violence against the state and state actors to achieve a political end. We have to use every lawful and legitimate tool that we have to demonstrate that justice will be served and delivered, and to prove that these kinds of tactics and techniques will ultimately fail. If the leftist learns and observes that their violence and criminal activity helps and ultimately succeeds in achieving their desired political end, they will be endlessly emboldened. Here in the United States, we've seen a growing and deeply alarming increase in attempted assassinations against public figures. Most notably, of course, the multiple assassination attempts against President Trump.
It was only a scratch.
Successful assassination attempt against Charlie Kirk, many others. This is a fatal cancer to civilization.
Your team rat because you own them as pets? Oh, we wonder what Rat Cousin would have to say about that.
And the greatest risk that we have is that our institutions have grown too soft and too cowardly to be able to defend themselves against a mortal threat.
Are you goat or are you fish, Stephen Miller? Or are you too cowardly to make a declaration?
If your civilization is your home, you must defend it with the same passion and force as if an enemy intruder is inside your own house where your family lives. That is the
GoatVsFish. Well, there you had it. If only there was some enemy or intruder that was here in Verse America that we could identify. If only there were some enemies or intruders in Verse America that were a clear and present danger to the social fabric, then maybe the goat and fish could dispense with the verses, form a unity of goat fish, at least until those fence sitters were out of there so they could get back to verses as usual. Trick verses. There is no such thing as a usual verses. It's always an ever-shifting, crazy, mad verse of goat versus fish. The fence sitters are always making a power play, goat and fish. Do not be deceived. There's no usual verses. There's no usual verses. This is the usual verses.
Level of dedication and urgency that is required. And the greatest threat is that even though there are far more of us, there are far more people who believe in order and civilization and liberty and the rule of law, is that
one's in the chat if you believe in order, civilization, and rule of law. Two's in the chat if you believe in chaos, anarchy, and freedom from political legislation.
That if we are softer than those who seek to end us, then the smaller but more...
You know, you're looking pretty soft there. Maybe you are harder than we give you credit for, Miller Stevenson. Maybe because your head looks pretty hard. We will give you that. We'll give you that your head looks fairly hard.
A radical minority will succeed. It is easy to
dismiss... A radical minority will succeed. A radical minority will succeed. We wouldn't want that to happen, would we? We wouldn't want a radical minority to succeed. In versus America? We can't have that. No. It's the majority. It's the majority that should rule in this versus, yes? My verses. 36% approve, 59% disapprove. President's net approval ratings down 23. But GoatVsFish, we can't let this minority on the left control the verses. We can't let the minority on the left control the verses. Percentage of Americans who want universal health care. GoatVsFish. Between 62 and 66% of Americans believe the federal government has a responsibility to ensure health care coverage for all its citizens. But we wouldn't want the minority to be determining how things are happening in versus America. We wouldn't want that.
Yes, what I'm saying is to say, surely it cannot be that bad. It cannot be that dire. But again, I point to the examples in our own
It's not.
country, where, for example, our Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which has been duly statutory authorized to carry out routine enforcement of immigration law.
Routine murders of American citizens.
Has been subjected to an over 8,000 increase.
We think that we just want to provide this clarification. We think they might be misspeaking. Politics is a difficult versus. They're out there. They're speaking all the verses. Sometimes they make just little mistakes like that, and we're putting it on GoatVsFish to just clear up any misconceptions about what's happening here in the verses.
8,000% increase in violent assaults. These are not one-off episodes. This is repeat, systemic, organized, funded.
Common sense was never common. Common sense is a deception, Wrench Stallion.
Insurrection and armed resistance against the federal government. There was a sniper from a sniper's nest who...
Armed resistance against the federal government? What? What? We didn't realize... Oh, wait a minute. We didn't realize that there was armed resistance against the federal government. We didn't realize that was happening.
It marks 5 years since the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. In less than an hour from now, Democrats will hold a hearing on that riot.
Yes. Yes, the armed resistance. Forgive GoatVsFish. We forgot about this. We forgot about this left-wing armed resistance against the federal government. Totally forgot about that verses.
To recast those.
Wait. What are those verses? They say Trump. They say Trump on those verses. Yes, of course. The left-wing Trump supporters, of course.
Even though we know that's not what happened, and to recast the members of the Capitol Police Force who bravely tried to protect.
There they are. You see, the fence can't protect you. The fence can't protect you, Ronald Trump. There they are, breaking through.
Members of Congress in the Capitol building. To recast members of Congress who worked through the night to complete their duty to ensure the peaceful transfer of power. And to
looks very peaceful to GoatVsFish. So yes, we admittedly forgive GoatVsFish. Correction stands. We forgot about all that political violence. We forgot all about it.
Using an assault rifle, tried to shoot ICE officers in Dallas, Texas. These are the episodes that we're talking about, where we have had repeated...
GoatVsFish supports your versus to defend yourself from the fence creatures.
Direct, violent attacks on federal law enforcement in order to veto the ballot box with violence. And the leftist justifies this violence to himself by saying that they...
how do you justify this violence to yourself? How do you justify this violence to yourself? Tell us.
...alone are the arbiters of what is right...
What is it? Tell us, Stephen Miller. How do you justify the violence to yourself?
...to himself by saying that they alone are the arbiters of what is right or wrong. Not...
And there's the verses! What was it? Once more for GoatVsFish? The vindication for GoatVsFish?
By saying that they alone are the arbiters of what is right or wrong. Not...
we've heard of that verses. There is no alpha or omega. There is no black or white. There is no good or evil. There is no right or wrong, but that fence sure is long. Oh, now we're getting into the verses. Not
the law, not history, not civilization, not public opinion, and certainly not God. The leftist assumes for himself...
Certainly not.
Judge, jury, executioner. But let's not pretend for a moment that these radical leftists, these terrorists, are operating from...
Judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner. For those listening at home, 1 week, 2 killings, Trump's immigration crackdown turns deadly again. Judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner, judge, jury, executioner.
From a place of sincere political conviction. Sure, there are plenty of useful idiots that they use who may believe.
Useful idiots?
These discredited ideologies. The leftist is fundamentally motivated by envy, by hatred, by jealousy. The leftist looks at what is.
Once again, that sounds like one particular narcissistic commander in fence that we know about. Does the crown mean the same as the Burger King crown? The crown means goat versus fish. It's the mightiest versus there is. It's the mightiest versus there is. Are you goat or are you fish? But some say the power lies within the crown. But no, the crown, it is but a trifle to goat versus fish. It is but a trifle to goat versus fish. The true power of goat versus fish comes from within you, comes from within you. It's an affectation. It's goat versus fish. Princess Blood, 6'7". 6'7". 6'7". Did you know that Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, Goat versus Fish, Goat versus Fish, was opus number 6'7"? Ooh. It's a true versus. Are you goat or fish? Princess of Blood? Are you goat or are you fish?
Beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy.
Oh, there's that verses again. There's the verses. Listen, you know, when they start talking about the big false verses, the true false verses, you know we're getting into it.
The leftist looks at what is beautiful and what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The
Beautiful, good, natural.
leftist looks at a perfect.
We look at that which is beautiful and we're just filled with hatred. Is that so? Goat and fish? Why look at this? Look at what's behind Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish took this very video ourselves, and now it's a background of Goat versus Fish at the beaches of Ventura. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish captured this beautiful verses, looping behind Goat versus Fish. That was a verses captured by Goat versus Fish. This was stock footage. This beautiful natural scene of a Bass Pro Shop was taken by Goat versus Fish. A beautiful verses, a beautiful natural verses. This too was a verses taken by Goat versus Fish, and Goat versus Fish is not filled with envy and hatred when we see this natural, beautiful verses. Or by natural, beautiful verses, are you referring to bald guy with pale skin who looks like Nosferatu reheated in a microwave? Is that what you're referring? Is that is this the natural beauty of Stephen Miller?
Perfect family with the perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church.
No.
The leftist looks at a perfect family with the perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids that goes to church every
Exclamation church! Exclamation church! Exclamation church! Take me to church, melt the boat down to burn down to Goat versus Fish. Goat and a goat versus fish. A goat and a goat versus fish. Okay, Goat and Fish, we have to be perfect now. We have to be perfect. We have to go to church now, Goat and Fish. We have to go to church now. Goat and Fish, we have to go to church now. We have to go to church now. We have to go to church now. It's church time. Goat versus Fish. We have to go to church now. We have to be perfect. Church time. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish.
All it takes is a fish and a goat and a place to ask around.
Is gentle, I hear a crow. Crow is fish. Crow is fish because as fish, he seeks the shiny, the beautiful, the special.
Oh, the goat. And sometimes you get led into a stew, into a St. Patrick's Day dinner.
Okay, we've been to church. We've been to church, Goat and Fish. Okay, we're all perfect now. Celebration, we're all perfect now.
Every Sunday, family with what is good and what is natural and is filled with envy and hatred. The leftist looks at a perfect family with a perfect life and a perfect job and perfect kids. It goes to church every Sunday and is filled with a feeling of inadequacy and jealousy, and they covet, and they turn those emotions ultimately into a desire to subjugate, to oppress, and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not.
What was that? What was that verses? We try to ask God if they are goat or if they are fish. The phrase, "I am a jealous God," famously originates from the Bible, specifically appearing as "the Lord your God am a jealous God" in the Ten Commandments. Oh.
Coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations...
What in Fenton's name is he blathering about? The fence has crashed into the verses.
A photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal.
Ah, the verses of normal and abnormal. This is how you know all of this is fence talk, Goat and Fish. Can we say this more explicitly? They are speaking of, we know what is good. We know what is beautiful. We know good versus evil. We know normal versus abnormal. This is why these are such dangerous verses, Goat and Fish. You may say, but what's the harm? What's the harm in good? What's the harm in the recognition of good versus evil? Because it is the fence sitter who will always perpetuation this false verses in the name of their own deceptions and oppressions. This is why you must beware of the temptation of the false verses of good versus evil, of the false temptation of normal versus abnormal. You must beware these verses, and legitimately so.
To oppress and to inflict pain and suffering. It's not a coincidence that when you look at these violent Antifa demonstrations, you see any photograph of those who were assembled. To be blunt, not one of the people that is demonstrating looks like a normal person. Not one looks normal. They're all deformed in some way, in their appearance, in their dress, in their mannerism. Why is that? Why? You look at two photographs and you see a normal American street, you see an Antifa protest. Why do the people...
You see a goat, you see a fish. You see a goat, you see a fish. One looks normal, one doesn't look normal. Have you ever noticed how the fish don't look normal, but the goat are totally looking normal? Have you ever noticed that?
They're violently demonstrating. Why is there not one normal-looking person among them? Every one of them, through the course of their life and their decisions, has scarred their body and their appearance in many different ways to the point in which they're...
Goat versus fish, goat versus fish. Not one of them looks normal. Not one of them looks normal, Goat and Fish. Beware, for not one of them looks normal. They have scarred their body. They've scarred their body and their appearance, Goat and Fish. Yes, piercings and tattoos upon them, Goat and Fish. Yes, we know what's normal and we know what's not. They may even adorn themselves with the horn of the goat. But it is just a deception. It is just a deception. Look at this horrible fence creature. Shudder in despair at its tattoos and piercings. Oh, my verses. And what is this totally botched makeup job? It's disgusting.
Their outer appearance becomes a manifestation of their inner hatred. Trust your instincts. To all people and across all civilizations, you know what normal is. You know what beautiful is. You know what good is. You know that families are right. You know that children are precious and beautiful and must be protected. You know that the criminal and the junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, must be protected. What beautiful is. You know what good is. You know that...
Goat and Fish. There is no black or white. There is no alpha or omega. There is no good or evil. It's a serious verses because look at how the fence is weaponization against you.
To all people and across all civilizations, you know what normal is. You know what beautiful is. You know what good is. You know that families are right. You know that children are precious and beautiful and must be protected. You know that the criminal...
The children are beautiful and must be protected? Oh, what's the verses? Oh, the children are beautiful and must be protected? Oh, that's true, isn't it? At least for all of that, at least we know that they're protecting. At least we know they're protecting the children, Goat and Fish. At least we know that for all of their fenciness, for all of their deceptions, and for all of their violence, at least we know they're protecting the children at the end of the verses. As long as they're protecting the children, Goat and Fish, as long as they're protecting the children, then we know that their verses must be in a true place, don't we? By the verses, are you going to release those unredacted files anytime soon? Oh, no? Maybe not then.
The junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, healthy living. This is so much deeper than issues about taxation and regulation, although they're incredibly important. It's about normal, healthy, ordered living.
Oh, don't pay attention to that legislation. Don't pay attention to that pesky legislation. This is about a versus for civilization. No, pay no attention to the legislation. Pay no attention to the courts. This is about something far more. This is about good versus evil. This is about normal versus abnormal, Goat and Fish. Beware the false verses. Beware the false verses. They are used only to deceive you. The fence-sitter uses the false verses of good versus evil and beautiful versus ugly. They use these false verses to perch themselves higher on the fence and cast judgments upon you and justification. Their own violence to justification, their own subjection and incarceration of you, Goat and Fish. The fence-sitter subjects you, the Goat and Fish, to their fencery, all the while using false verses in order to rally the Goat and Fish. And wait to verses. And wait to verses. What's this you say?
And the violent left, normal, healthy, ordered living. And the violent leftists, for these deep-seated reasons, going back to the earliest wisdom taught to us in the Bible about coveting. And I'm not talking about
wait. What was this?
For these deep-seated reasons, regulation, although they're incredibly important. Criminal and the junkie and the predator is a threat to normal, healthy living. This is so much deeper than issues about taxation and regulation, although they're incredibly important.
The internet by
It's
storm,
about,
and now he's become an unlikely celebrity in Seattle. Fox.
So now we have no love for the malformed. So now we have no love for the fence creature, for the junkie, for the ugly, for the misshapen, for the scarred, for the damaged. Now we have no love for the scarred and for the damaged. Oh, JIMOTHY. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish owes you an apologization, JIMOTHY. JIMOTHY fence creature. In all of your hideous, malformed, misshapen, ugly, crooked, scarred visage, and for all of your fence-sittery, JIMOTHY, you are welcome to the congregation of Goat versus Fish. You are welcome to root through the garbage of the trash of the refuse of the verse temple of the verse church of Goat versus Fish, JIMOTHY. Because you live in a fence America that would look at you and call you ugly. You live in a fence America that would look at you and call you hideous, call you abnormal, JIMOTHY. They would. But of course, the fine citizens of Verse America, the proud Goat and Fish, they would look upon you in all of your misshapen glory, and they would find love. They would find love for you, JIMOTHY. They would find love for you. You're a pitiable fence creature, it's true, but beware the fence-on-fence violence. Beware the fence-on-fence violence. You cannot believe the fence-sitter when they say that they love Jimothy. You cannot believe them. In one verses, they will say, we love the misshapen, we love the downtrodden, we love the ugly, they're so cute, they're so cute. And in the next verses, they will use it as a justification for violence and incarceration. Jimothy, you have no place in Stephen Miller's Verse America, but you always have a verses at the congregation of Goat versus Fish.
Normal, healthy, ordered living. And the violent leftists, for these deep-seated reasons, going back to the earliest wisdom taught to us in the Bible about
in the beginning there was Goat versus Fish, the Goat Fish, and Goat versus Fish said that there should be goat and that there should be fish. There is no Alpha or Omega. There is no black or white. There is no good or evil. There is only goat and fish and goat versus fish. You have many questions. Yes, who was Goat versus Fish? What was Goat versus Fish? Why is Goat versus Fish? But there's only one question. Are you goat or are you fish? The goat is a goat. A fish is a fish. The goat versus the fish. Goat are of the land. Fish are of the sea. And that's how it be. And that's how it be. And do you be goat or do you be fish? Don't sit on the fence. Don't sit on the fence. We're going to finish this verses. We're going to finish this verses.
About coveting. And I'm not talking about rich versus poor. I'm talking about a much deeper kind of coveting.
It's not. It's not. We're not talking about rich versus poor. We wouldn't want to talk about that versus, now would we? We wouldn't want to talk about rich versus poor, would we? We'd much rather talk about left versus right and good versus evil and normal versus abnormal. Anything not to talk about rich versus poor, please. Anything but that. Anything but that. Anything but goat versus fish. Have you ever been on Wick TV? Tell us about Wick TV. Are you making a recommendation? Should Goat versus Fish go on Wick TV?
Coveting people who are morally superior, who are superior in the...
They covet us because we're so morally superior. Yes. Goat have a superior moral foundation. We are of the land. The land has strong foundations. No, we the fish, we are morally superior, for we can go with the flow and know that morality is a shifting verses depending on context. I am morally superior, said the goat. I am morally superior, said the fish. Debate hoster thought you sounded familiar. Well, maybe.
Simple, truthful way they live their lives. People that they look at who are happy and ordered and peaceful and contributing to the communities. That burns an ember in them, and that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed.
One week, 2 killings. Trump's immigration crackdown turns deadly again. We keep coming back to this verses. We just keep coming back. It's so verseful. There's just something about this 1 week, 2 killings. Trump's immigration crackdown turns deadly again. There's just something about it that we just keep coming back. We keep coming back to this verses. Oh my verses. Yes, some news just rings evergreen, ever true, Goat and Fish. Repetition.
And you might say, again, you're describing...
You might say, what might you say? What might you say, building a straw man out of fence?
Seems dragged out into the street and executed. And you might say, again, you're describing a future that are dragged out into the street and executed.
Okay, we're going to do this verses like this. Here we are.
And that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out.
Goat versus fish. Goat versus fish. Here we are. Here we are.
Into the street. There's an ember in them, and that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And you might say, again, throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed. And that's how you end up with the horrors we've seen throughout history, where good families are dragged out into the street and executed.
We're beginning to understand now. We think we're beginning to understand now. We think we're beginning to understand now. Okay. It's all starting to make verses. We were confused there for verses, but it's all starting to make comprehension. The fence sitter just doesn't know who they're talking about.
Raised the alarm, knowing in myself that I was right.
Well, forgive Goat versus Fish. Didn't realize that you were right.
It's already too late. Until the threat is so present and so clear and so obvious and so imminent that none can deny it. It's already too late. It's already too late. I would rather prevent a threat from occurring and be accused for the rest of my life of having falsely raised the alarm, knowing in myself that I was right, than for fear of being judged, having waited too long until the point of no return has been crossed. The good news is that we are far away from the point of no return. So
are we?
All of us should organize together and work together for the good and the benefit of all the people in our societies.
Okay.
Of all walks of life,
sounds great.
Of all persuasion.
Sounds wonderful.
To deliver for them
what
they are justly entitled
let's verse together.
Which is to live with safety,
yes.
with fundamental human dignity, and with the ability to live in peace and harmony with their families and neighbors. Thank you all, and God bless.
Goat versus fish bless. Goat versus fish bless. Oh, well, that sounds great. Oh, you stuck the landing there. Stephen. You really stuck the landing there. But what we will tell you of this, let's zoom in. Let's zoom in on that Stephen Miller though. Zoom, magnify. Magnification. 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 Oh. No, continue. Continue. Ugh. Continue. Magnification. Continue magnification. Continue thumbnail Oh, Stephen, you're not looking so great there. You're looking a little misshapen, a little deformed there. Stephen, oh no. Stephen, what have you done to yourself? Stephen, we can't have this. We can't have this. Can someone bring JIMOTHY back in here? This is just hideous. You lack all the charms of JIMOTHY, you hideous, malformed fence creature. Ugly thing. Sometimes you can just tell by looking at someone if they're on the fence and they haven't chosen goat or fish. Sometimes you can just tell, can't you? You can just tell who's on the fence. You just know. Sometimes you just know. Beautiful, glorious creature. Aww. Hideous abomination. Glorious, beautiful creature. Aww. Hideous abomination. Beautiful fence creature. Hideous abomination! You're not normal, Stephen Miller. You're not normal. You're deranged. You're part of a fringe minority group that must be silenced. And I know what normal is, and I know what's right and what's wrong, because I'm Goat versus Fish, the GoatFish, and we know that all of your rightness and wrongness is but a false verses used to divide goat from fish.
You know, the fence wasn't too good. The one that they had up there was falling apart. They damaged the fence in front of the White House. Excuse me, that I built. I built it.
Goat and Fish. This has been some serious news. This has been some serious news on Goat versus Fish. That was a big versus. That was a big versus. Like, subscribe, and follow Goat versus Fish for more Goat versus Fish news. We bring you the verses you can use. We bring you the verses you can use. And it was written. And it was written. Can we get some and it was written in the comment section? If you agree with Goat versus Fish. This has been a critical versus. This has been a critical versus. Yes, Wow Mom. Yes, Ranch Stallion. Yes. Yes. Celebration. Celebration, celebration, celebration. We had more news. We had more news we wanted to cover, Goat and Fish. We had more. We had more news we wanted to cover, but this is just what happens on Goat versus Fish news. Sometimes you can cover it all. Sometimes you can cover it all. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't. It's been a long stream of Goat versus Fish. Goat and Fish. We'll just take a brief sports coverage on Goat versus Fish. Brief sports coverage, Goat and Fish. It's on the thumbnail. It's on the thumbnail. We'll do some brief sports coverage. So we saw this versus. Much has been happening in the Cup of the Worlds and the debate of the Argentina versus Spain. Who's the goat? Who's the fish? Argentina versus Spain. Who's the goat? Who's the fish? Well, Argentina has Messi, and that Messi goat has been called the GOAT. And we see on this analysis, has Lionel Messi ended GOAT debate? Has Lionel Messi ended GOAT debate? And here we thought that GOAT were furiously debating with one another as to who was going to be their leader, who is now Wow Mom, leader of GOAT, the Supremo GOAT. But maybe the GOAT debate's finally over. Maybe the GOAT debate is finally over. But this versus was published before the game, before the GOAT lost. Argentina are through to their second World Cup final in a row after beating England in Atlanta. England in Atlanta? That doesn't sound like geography that Goat versus Fish is aware of. Lionel Messi inspired them during a sensational comeback. Emotionally and physically, Argentina will have to regroup in double quick time. They have to travel to New York to face Spain in the final verses. Knowing that they will be the first team to retain the World Cup since Brazil in 1962. Has Messi already ended the GOAT debate? Is the GOAT debate, they love debating on the GOAT debate itself. It's not just the GOAT debate, it's also the debate about if the GOAT debate is still happening. Who's the GOAT? Or has the GOAT debate ended? Debate among GOAT. It's very Goat versus Fish. How else could you understand a statement like, has Messi already ended the GOAT debate, unless you know the framework of Goat versus Fish? If you still don't think Messi is the greatest player of all time, what on earth will persuade you? Cries the author of this hard-hitting think piece. Perhaps second World Cup, if he leads Argentina to be the first team to win back-to-back titles in 64 years. What if he scores in the final? Scores two? A hat trick? Will that do it? Argentina's win against England gave more proof that you can't stop Messi. You can try, and occasionally he will go a game without scoring, very occasionally. That will be because you have managed to contain him. But more often than not, he will find a way. Play how you like. He will find a way to kill you somehow. Oh, my verses. Soccer is getting violent. Admittedly, England played into his hands by giving plenty of space. Goat. Messi continues to make the difference. That's greatness. The greatest of all time. And then Argentina lost to Spain 1-0. Here's a more recent versus. Why soccer's Messi versus Ronaldo GOAT debate is unchanged by World Cup final defeat. It's still not a fair fight. Ah! Oh, it wasn't a fair versus, Goat and Fish. What? Rigged! 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 No. We're not going to... No, the GOAT debate. No, we're not starting the GOAT debate again. We're not starting the GOAT debate again. It wasn't a fair versus. The Messi versus Ronaldo GOAT debate. Unchanged. Unchanged, Goat and Fish. No, that didn't matter. No. None of that was really that important. As Lionel Messi fell short in the third FIFA World Cup final appearance, unable to lead Argentina. We bet if Wow Mom was leading the Goats, that they would have won. In their first back-to-back World Cup titles, Goat versus Fish. His rival, Cristiano Ronaldo, was watching from the couch. Ooh, sitting on the fence sounds comfy in that versus. Don't get too comfy, though. Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish. Throughout much of their careers, Messi and Ronaldo has often been compared, like a goat and a fish, with fans and media and Goat and Fish debating endlessly who is better by various definitions of the verses, who has achieved more, who has the greater resume, and ultimately who is the GOAT. However, as their careers reach the later stages of their athletic abilities, they're getting old. A larger separation has been built, a separation between Goat and Fish. Between the two, that has relegated the debate to the back burner, as most people, be they Goat or Fish, now innately know who stands alone as the most decorated and exceptional soccer player in history. Why the Messi versus Ronaldo GOAT debate is no longer a fair contest? Goat and Fish, we do not care for the particulars of this GOAT debate. That's an internal GOAT matter for GOAT. We just wish you to know that this debate, it will never truly be settled. They're going to be arguing about who's the GOAT for a very, very long versus. Just watch when the GOAT triumphs. Watch when then when Argentina triumphs in the false versus of Argentina versus Spain, then we'll know for certain that Ronaldo is the true GOAT. And then what did they do? Well, they just changed. The GOAT lost. Well, it didn't matter anyway. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. It's still okay. The only player who can challenge Messi... Oh, is it going to be themselves? Oh, no, it's Pele. Pele. Goat versus Fish. Pele Atari Soccer. The only player who can challenge Messi for greatest player in history is Pele, but there are limitations to the Pele resume, many of which are situational. Pele was limited in achievements by the fact that the South played in South America their entire career. And by the international landscape, Pele... Well, just to compare, let's look at some of Pele's accomplishments, since they are farther away in memory. Let's have a look at some of Pele's accomplishments. This is Pele Soccer on the Atari 2600. Go, Pele, go! Oh, no! Which one's the Goat and Fish both in tight formation now? The Goat and Fish both in tight formation now. They're coming into the side of the versus they're strictly playing defense now. There's Pele and there's did that go in the fence? Did they score? No. They're my versus! Celebration! Oh, what an exciting, riveting versus of fence ball. Oh, my verses. Poop Drew says, hey, matey, Poop Drew here. Do you think eating my poop should be legal or not? Who's eating it? Who is eating it, Poop Drew? Who's eating it? Who's eating it? Who's eating it? Who's eating it? Who's eating the poop? Who's eating it? Who's eating it? Goat versus fish. We'll tell you who's eating it. We'll tell you who's eating it. You're not one of those viewers who comes into a chat and just says your line, and then just when you don't get the reaction of offense that you want, then you just leave. Come on, surely someone has asked you who's eating it. Surely someone out there has asked you who's eating it. You don't have a response for that versus Goat versus Fish. Goat versus Fish has answers for your verses, going deep down, going deep down, going deep down. For verses around. No, that's not me, Poop. I love Poopy. We'll have a look at this. Well, then have a look at this.
Caviar. Eat caviar. It's one of the best things you can put in your mouth. What's the name of that sushi, sir? The fish egg sushi? Row your caviar.
This one's for you, Poop
Can you
Drew.
give me a 30-second clock, sir?
Beginning now. Wait for it.
How far is that? How long did I go?
You wanted us to tell you when the 30 seconds happened? We started the verses.
Thank you. So I'm going to do a reading today.
This one's for you. Poop Drew.
Sacred texts.
Oh, get right on that mic.
Food Culture by Dave Prager. This chapter, chapter 10, page 207. Free your mind, the Tao of Poo. One fine day, 400 years before Christ was born, Diogenes of Sinope crapped in the Athens marketplace. As a cynic, Diogenes rejected social customs as vanity. He believed that man's attempts to distance himself from the animals were self-deceptions. Fine clothes, gourmet food, formal rituals, the pursuit of beauty, all were narcissistic attempts to deny our nature. Why should there be things that you can do in private but not in public? If human necessity is in accordance with nature, isn't it in accordance with nature no matter where it is addressed? I say this about the being we are gathered here for. Goat versus fish, the eternal being. He's the Diogenes of our time, taking a big fat shit right in the middle of comedic discourse, right in the middle of YouTube and Twitch. He fucking takes the fattest shit on satire and taking sides. He is the pure excrement of comedy. And because he makes us choose number one or number two, I say go for number two, GOAT. Gotta go for number two, baby. I just like, I can't believe the silent creatures, these depth diving monsters, these that they think that they have a voice in our culture.
Well, Goat and Fish, there you have it. There's your poop content, Poop Drew. If anyone wants poop content on Goat versus Fish, we've got it. That's Sean Humphreys. That's Sean Humphreys at the Temple of Goat versus Fish. Goat and Fish, we wish to share with you. Can we share with you this link, Goat and Fish? Can we get some likes in the verses? Number 2 is Goat. That's just their verses. Goat versus Fish does not necessarily endorse the statements of those made as guest sermonizers at the Church of Goat versus Fish. Do not necessarily reflect the views, beliefs, positions, and liturgy of the Church of Goat versus Fish. So yes, go watch the verses, share the verses, enjoy the verses, and follow Church of Goat versus Fish. Follow Church of Goat versus Fish. Follow Church of Goat versus Fish. Is there any more must cover news? Must cover news, Goat and Fish. Well, we'll just quick news wrap up. Quick news wrap up, Goat and Fish, for the news we missed. Goat and Fish, just show you some what's goings on out there in the universe. So here's some fish news. Tiny red fin blue-eyed fish found only in Australia survives predator onslaught. Surviving fish. In short, a tiny school of redfin blue-eyed desert fish has narrowly avoided being eaten into extinction. Invasive mosquito fish have been washed into their springs and have reached emergency levels. What's next? A mesh fence has partially kept the pest at bay, but experts say it's not a long-term solution. Fence. Sometimes, Goat and Fish, when the fence creature invades, the mosquito fence may take the guise of fish, and then it's fish on fish. The only way to stop the fence is sometimes with another fence, Goat and Fish. Fence on fence violence. Oh no, Goat versus Fish loathes the fence on fence of violence. It's not a true solution. They admit it themselves. It's but a temporary versus. The solution you need is to get goats. You need goats to versus the fish. If the mosquito fish are really fish, then just bring in goats to versus the fish. It will bring a natural environmental equilibrium to Australia. You can't depend on these fences. You can't depend on the fence. Using scoops made from milk bottles, Sarah Butler has been working tirelessly to save a tiny fish found nowhere else in the world. Every red-fin, blue-eyed fish. Australia not being eaten fisher. We've caught has had some damage from gambusia, whatever the fence that is. Found only in a hidden network of artisanal springs near Aramac in Western Queensland. The blue-eyed survival is critical. Sometimes, quotation, the damage presents a fungus from scales missing and the fish gets sick. Oh no! Otherwise, there can be big chunks of tail missing. Ah, not the tail! Their fry, or their babies, so the fish babies are called fries? What about a fish fry? Are just immediately getting eaten. Oh no! So looks like there's a flood. There's a flood water that brought a new competitor fish into the verses. The return of an invasive predator emerged in response to the native fish. Yes, the fish may blame the goat. But here we've got some fish on fish versus. We've got an invasive fish taking over territory of another fish. This is politics again. Fish, what are you going to do about it? Joy Evil, the most shellfish cod parent. You got to get your fish in order. Otherwise, the race to survive, affectionately nicknamed the puddle in the desert, the only surviving spring now contains all the species of remaining genetic diversity. Uh-oh, that sounds like precarious verses. That sounds like a precarious verses. Beware. Unfortunately, quotation, the water level of the flood exceeded the fence that we've got here. Oh, can't trust the fence. So as everyone pointed out, invasive species are now in the spring. Goat and Fish, the fish are surviving, but just scarcely. Here's to you, fish. Keep on surviving, and here's to the conservation of the land of the goat and the sea of the fish. It's a delicate verses, but Goat, this might be your opportunity. This might be your opportunity to strike. To strike at the fish. Goat and Fish, is the Instagram is Instagram versing yet, or is it still fancy? Instagram has been fancy for a few verses. Instagram has been very fancy for a few verses. They're like, we can't do that. We can't load that. We can't show you your saved. Verses. Well, can we find it on YouTube? Can we find this viral verses on YouTube? Did this versus happening? Did this versus happen? Goat versus Fish? Oh, we saw verses. We wanted to share. We might, but it's a perennial versus. It's a perennial versus. How about recently uploaded versus? Recently uploaded on Goat vs. Fish? Do we have it? Do we have it? Fence it all. Fence it all. We don't see it. We saw it on Instagram. We do not see it on YouTube's. We saw it on Instagram. We don't see it on YouTube. And Instagram is being fenced. Instagram is being fenced. Instagram is being fenced. Well, it was a false versus anyway. It was a false versus anyway. For the final verses, the fish are making incursions. The fish are making incursions into goat land. Here we have, from 4 days ago, 110-year-old water main breaks in the West Hollywood streets. This was big news here in Verse America. Uh-oh.
Neighborhood streets
That's no small verses.
Parking garages into swimming pools after a massive water main break in West Hollywood. The damage and the cleanup.
I mean, it's kind of like one of those kind of natural disasters that you're just like, this is crazy. This happens in the Midwest, not in West Hollywood, California.
Oh, it happens in
Cars,
that's no small amount. That's no small amount of the Sea of the Fish.
Rushing water, drivers now dealing with insurance. We dive into what's covered and what's
fence
not. But first, breaking news in Eagle Rock, where crews are battling a house fire.
Scott. Neighborhood streets turned into rivers and parking garages into swimming pools after a
Let's watch
massive
this.
water
Let's
main
watch this
break in West
versus.
Hollywood.
Here's some.
The
Here's some.
damage and the cleanup.
Here's some goat or fish on the street.
Flowing down the street. That is so wild.
This is Yucky Stew Ride and Relax 4K.
Completely soaked. Damn, bro. Hey, man, there's a guy down the street that wants you to move. I think I should ride through this.
The Sea of the Fish comes to the land of the goat.
Damn, dude, look at that. The Pacific Design Center. Crazy. Dude, this is crazy, bro.
All right, my friend Dave.
There you have it. This is crazy. And of course, repairs are underway. Repairs are underway.
We begin in West Hollywood, where tonight new questions about LA's aging water system. At least 5 water main breaks have hit the area in the last week, including that massive rupture that flooded the Sunset Strip. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf is live in West Hollywood with...
Why are the sinkholes only happening in cities? Well, first of all, there's only enough goat and fish in the cities to make adverse reporting on. And second of all, these cities are the only place that have real infrastructure, dilapidated though it may be.
The latest there, Matthew, they were hoping that
Where do you live, Big Rig 250?
would be all finished by tomorrow.
Yeah, so Susan, that definitely
They look unconvinced.
doesn't look like it's going to be the case. Right now, crews are still here working. Elliot will show you a live look. You can see the massive sinkhole still here on Sunset. The crews still working on that new pipe.
Behold, the goat land falls to the fish. The goats try to contain the Sea of the Fish. They try to run it through pipes for their hydration and defecation and urination. Yes, as much as the goat versus the fish, that versus is often born of envy indeed, so we learned. Yes, the goat covet the waters for their own thirsts and hygiene. But if they do not respect the waters of the fish, then it will lead to this. If you don't respect the waters of the fish, then the waters that you bring to the land will turn your land into sand and pull the land down, back into the sea, and the seas took over the land of the goat, and it was a versus for fish, and now the goat have to build a whole bunch of fences around the goat land, and it's like, oh, we wanted to have civilization. We didn't want to have fences everywhere, but now you do, because you weren't respecting the Sea of the Fish. The goat were not respecting the Sea of the Fish. They were not maintaining the Sea of the Fish. They were not maintaining their infrastructure, and now they have invitation. This fishy wave of hydration onto their own lands. Goat and Fish, this has been the news of Goat versus Fish. This has been the news of Goat versus Fish. And it was written, Let us conclusion this news of Goat versus Fish with some morning celebrations, Let's put on some thunder tracks and let's do some morning celebrations. Shall we, Goat and Fish? 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 Shall we? Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! Celebration for fish! Oh yeah! Fish celebration, yeah! Fish celebration, yeah! BBDH 100 for fish, yeah! Let's go! Let's versus now! Oh yeah! We got this! We got this! Ah! Hydration. Goat versus Fish. It's time for the morning celebrations. Head rotations, head, neck rotations. If you have enjoyed this news of Goat versus Fish, consider subscribing to Goat versus Fish. Patreon to Goat versus Fish. We're here to give you all the Goat versus Fish, all the verses. We know you love Goat versus Fish. We know you like Goat versus Fish. We know it's tough economic verses out there. Please consider supporting Goat versus Fish on the Patreon of Goat versus Fish and subscribing to Goat versus Fish on all social media at Goat versus Fish and Church of Goat versus Fish on Instagram. Shake it all out. Oh, yes. And touching the toes, touch your hooves with your fins, Goat and Fish. Morning celebrations. Celebration. Celebration. You're listening to Thunder Tracks. Celebration. Celebration. Celebration! 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 This has been your Goat vs. Fish. News and politics, morning motivational, celebrational. We believe in you. We believe in you. We believe in you. We believe in you. The YouTube poll says that JIMOTHY is an exquisite goat with 33% of the vote. Legendary GoatFish with 56% of the vote. And according to Twitch, the Twitch poll of Goat vs. Fish, says of JIMOTHY. The Twitch poll of Goat vs. Fish says of JIMOTHY. Legendary GoatFish with 3 votes. Exquisite Goat 1 vote. Malformed Fence 1 vote. Is JIMOTHY the legendary GoatFish? What will the new leaders of Goat and Fish say unto one another? Can the political differences between Goat and Fish unite and or divide them? Find out on the next Tuesday Newsday of Goat vs. Fish. Meanwhile, Temple streams Monday, Tuesdays Newsdays Tuesdays, Wednesday Musications, Thursday Classic Verses, and the occasional Saturday or Sunday sermonization. By the verses, Goat vs. Fish just committed to perform a musical set at the Doll Hut in Anaheim this Friday. So if you want to see the Doll Hut, if you want to come see Goat vs. Fish live musications at a proper music venue with a proper music set, come to the Doll Hut in Anaheim this Friday. Goat vs. Fish is going to be doing a set there at the invitation. Looks like, we guess you get something for touring with Green Jellÿ for a while. Goat and Fish, that's the verses. That's the verses. Celebration, appreciation to our patrons. To our patrons, Goat and Fish. Ah! Generous donors at patreon.com/Goat vs. Fish. The Humble Congregation, Bedbird Person, The Quaxinator, Jimmy Wrench, Mama Joe, Vramajo, Standard Average, Tuggerugger, Hogrim, Eldergrown, Uberkitten, Pedistador, and eventually Gold, Psychic Buckeye 12, Drew, and Hi-Fi Protege. The Elite Humble Congregation, Prism Bloom, Lord Saturn, Karmic, Prue Lawrence, Atro, Sourdough, Watt 9807, That One Bull Guy, Napoleon Doom, the Unification Congregation, I Can Fix Amber Heard, and Lysergic Fish. Appreciation. Joy Evil, congratulations on being the Lord of the Fish and all that verses. The Elite Humble are few and many. Goat vs. Fish, we had a versus. So Goat vs. Fish has creation a new Instagram account for Church of Goat vs. Fish. Church of Goat vs. Fish. For Church of Goat vs. Fish. A new Instagram account for Church of Goat vs. Fish. A new Instagram account for Church of Goat vs. Fish, which you should follow here. We're going to be posting all kinds of fun verses there coming soon. Ish. And we thought, well, it is of course fitting that the Church of Goat vs. Fish only follows Goat vs. Fish. But Goat vs. Fish thought that maybe we could make a little promotion. Maybe we'll make a new tier on the Goat vs. Fish Patreon. And for 100 verse American dollars a month, Goat vs. Fish will follow you on the Church of Goat vs. Fish Instagram. Maybe some verses like this. If you are a large enough donor to the Church of Goat vs. Fish, you may just be blessed by a follow from Goat vs. Fish. Who knows? Who knows? Who's to say? You get an Aus dollars? Well, as long as it amounts to verses for Goat vs. Fish. A shout out to Nebraska Joe Dirt, who made the Nephew Network logo up there in the corner of Goat vs. Fish. This has been the verses. This has been the verses. Join patreon.com/GoatVsFish. We know there's some of you that are listening out there. We know that some of you out there listening on this very verses. Maybe you just don't want to create that Patreon account. Maybe you don't think you have the monetization. But Goat vs. Fish will ask you this. Are you paying for Fence Flicks? Are you paying for Disney Plus? Are you paying for Amazonian Prime? How many monthly verses do you already pay for? You somehow found a way. You somehow find a way to pay. Well, here, Goat vs. Fish, here at the studio and church and temple of Goat vs. Fish, we are bringing you the verses. It's been over 100 verses. It's been over 100 verses, and we're not stopping any verses soon. So if you like the content of Goat vs. Fish, join the Patreon of Goat vs. Fish. Join the 20 versus American dollars is 20 versus American dollars. 5 versus American dollars is 5 versus American dollars. Join the humble congregation. Join patreon.com/GoatVsFish. For 5, 10, or 20 or more versus American dollars a month. And support this content being created by Goat vs. Fish for you! For you! And we'll see you on the next verses. We'll see you on the next verses of Goat vs. Fish. Oh, Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs. Fish. Goat vs.